game everyone has. This is Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. We're set to go. Rich Carlos is into the ball. David Hollis, the first-year player, is up to the 15-yard line. As the Broncos come hitting on special teams. Nicely done by Bruce Plummer. And here comes Dave Craig leading the Seattle offense out. Craig maligned much of his career, but the stats show in the rating system he's number 4 in the history of the NFL as a passer. Kurt Warner's his H-back, and he's had his best games career-wise against Denver. John L. Williams, a big, tough fullback from Florida. Largent, you know about him, on his way to the Hall of Fame, the best pass catcher in the history of this league. Seattle feels they have to run the ball at Denver to keep it away from Elway. Warner. Not a whole lot. Not a first down carry from the 15. He gets it to about the 17-yard line where Freddie Gilbert, the left end, knocked him out. A former standout in the USFL. Greg Cragen starts at nose tackle. There's been some injury problems up front. Andre Townsend starting at right end. Mecklenburg, the all-pro linebacker, is now positioned almost full-time inside at the right side. Fletcher, Dennison, and Ryan, the other backers. There's the secondary. The safeties are particularly good. Second down and about 8. Here's a throw and a completion to John L. Williams out of the backfield and down the far sideline, and he has a first down for Seattle. As we welcome all of you who've been watching Miami and Chicago, this is Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy at Mile High Stadium. That pass play good for a 26-yard gain from.
That's the first pass thrown by the Seattle Seahawks. Motion by the Seahawks to try to distort the Denver defense. And John L. Williams uncovered. The closest Denver Bronco defender is Jim Ryan, the outside linebacker. Number 50 does not make the tackle. Harden knocks him out of bounds. 31-yard pickup.
Denver gave up a lot of yards in the preseason, 5.2 a carry to the opposing rush, and of course was devastated by the running game of Washington in the last Super Bowl. Here's Warner cutting back, breaking into open field, and Kurt Warner on the run. Dancing, he loses the ball. A play on the ball, and Gilfrey, and Denver appears to have it. It looked like Rick Dennison got the ball. So Kurt Warner breaks off a 19-yard run, then coughs up the ball on a hit, and Dennison, number 55, comes up with a recovery, and Denver has stopped this opening drive and takes over the ball.
Historically, this Denver defense has not been big, not been strong, but has made a living with turnovers. Joe Collier preaches the turnover. Kurt Warner ends up a 19-yard pickup, but then you can see Dennis Smith, 49, knocks the ball loose. And when it's bouncing around there on the ground, 75 is Wilson after it. I don't know who recovered it, but he wore an orange shirt.
Dennison was the man, inside backer, and now Elway, and the Broncos go on the attack for the first time in the 88 season. From their 38. And to put it right up. Long ball. Looking deep. Johnson is tripped, but it is ruled the coverage man was going for the ball. There's no foul. Melvin Jenkins, 24, starting at the left corner because of the drug suspension of starter Terry Taylor.
Isn't that the way they started the Super Bowl?
Exactly.
Yeah, only it was a completion to Ricky Nattiel. The rules now in the NFL governing pass interference, there's a lot more hitting and bumping allowed by the defensive player.
Tony Dorsett starting in the Denver backfield today, the longtime Dallas Cowboy. Along with Gerald Wilhite, it will be second down and 10 as Elway tries to burn Seattle early, going at their weakest point. The last-minute starter because of the problem Taylor encountered. Here's a throw up the middle, free ball. It's not caught. Near to the play was Schultz, an outside linebacker. Jacob Green put the heat on and got a hand on the ball. Offensive line for the Broncos, Jariga, first-year tackle from Illinois. Bishop, a very strong player at left guard. Bryan, a sound offensive center. Humphreys and Lanier on the right side. They're not a big offensive line. They tend to slide, check, block, get in the way, but they get the job done. A very effective front line. Defensive unit of the Seattle Seahawks will be checking shortly as now we come to third down. And Elway, with 10 to go for the first down, sets in the shotgun.
There's no middle linebacker. Watch Elway on the run here, Don.
He looks. Elway throws, and he makes the connection, but not enough for the first down. He got the ball to the 47-yard line. Vance Johnson was the receiver, but it'll bring up 4th down and 2. Jenkins and Hunter converge down the tackle.
Elway, one of the best running quarterbacks in the NFL. If he does take the ball down, he runs easily for a 1st down. Oh, the Seahawks stopped the Denver Broncos after 3 downs, something they need to do consistently throughout the day to be a factor in this game.
Mike Horan has a very good preseason, and Bobby Joe Edmonds led the AFC in punt returns last season for Seattle. You see, 12.6 a return. Horan averaging over 45 in the preseason. That goes a long way here in the Mile High City, and he gets a big one off. Very high. Bobby Joe Edmonds fair catches the ball at the 10 and does well to do that, looking into the sun. And so, on a 44-yard punt, the Seahawks get the ball a 2nd time. Numbers for the opposing quarterbacks. Today we've had a lot of action, lots of big plays, but no points yet. Nothing. 12:47 to go in the 1st quarter.
Now, I think that stat surprises a great many people if you really look at it. John Elway gets all the attention, and it's justified. But Dave Craig, who happens to be the only starting quarterback currently playing in the NFL, never drafted by an NFL team, not as bad as some people think.
We're talking about those all-time stats. He grades out number 4 in the history of the league, behind Marino 1, Montana 2, and Ken O'Brien of the Jets, believe it or not, is 3. Now the Seahawks forced to go the long field again, starting this time from their 10. You remember their opening drive was from their 15. Only to have it end in the Kurt Warner fumble. Craig is looking to get the Broncos coming, goes with the long count. Here's John L. Williams, big and tough. Not much there as the Broncos, with Simon Fletcher leading the parade, make the hit, knock him down at the 18-yard line. Chicago Bears blew out Miami today at Soldier Field. What a game at the Superdome, where San Francisco held on to beat New Orleans. Major upset at Buffalo, where the Bills upset the Vikings. The Steelers hold on to beat the Cowboys. Cincinnati, with Esiason throwing for 3 touchdowns, beats Phoenix. Green Bay beaten badly by the Los Angeles Rams today in Wisconsin. 2nd down, a long 7. High throw. It's off the hands of Ray Butler at the 20-yard line. Dave Craig, as he goes, he starts out hot. Pretty sure that the Seattle Seahawks are going to be hot all day. Here's some more scores. Philadelphia routing Tampa Bay, and Detroit beat Atlanta. Falcons last year 28th in offense and 28th in defense, and not off to a good start.
Not off to a good start. Major change in the Denver defense. Those of you used to seeing Rulon Jones play defensive end for all 4 downs. Now a pass rush specialist. He is in the ballgame.
They got a 4-down lineman, Mecklenburg, aligned to the top of your screen as a pass rusher also. Craig from the shotgun. Beats on. Craig gets it away. They'll have to punt from their end zone as the rush was on Simon Fletcher. Might have had a hand on the ball. And so with 11:56 to play in the 1st quarter, Seattle has to punt for the 1st time.
Game up front by the Denver Broncos. The defensive tackles went inside. Defensive ends went outside. See, a good job by Millard, 71 on Rulon Jones, 73. Simon Fletcher, defensive end and linebacker, got his hand up with good coverage down the field. Craig is an excellent quarterback, Don, but he can set his feet. When he's got to roll around, that's when he gets in trouble.
Ready to punt from the end zone now. Is Rodriguez, Ruben Rodriguez, against a big rush, gets off an end-over-end punt. Evan Clark comes up on it. He'll return it from the 49-yard line. Weaving into the coverage, he's down to the 41-yard line. A 36-yard punt, an 8-yard return. And again, the Broncos get possession of the ball with excellent field position, but still no score at Mile High Stadium. A great day in the Mile High City, and for a 19th straight year, Mile High Stadium is sold out to follow the Broncos. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. Trump, the Seahawks come in here with some serious problems. The linebacker, Fred Young, walked out yesterday. He'd walked out 2 previous times in the preseason. The starting cornerback is gone because of drug suspension, Terry Taylor. They got to really pull it up today.
You're right. It's put this defense at a real disadvantage. Jeff Bryant, too, missed all of the preseason. They put in kind of a new defense, and they kind of gave him a short course on it so he could play today. But it does hurt the Seattle Seahawks' chances because Playing the Denver Broncos anywhere is very difficult. Playing them here, your defense has got to be on key and in tune. And those two players missing late is really a disadvantage to the Seahawks defense.
Young walked out even though he's under contract. The Bosworth contract caused major problems with his franchise. Jeff Bryant just showed up late in the week as the Broncos on a first down carry go to the run and take the ball down to the 35-yard line of Seattle. Tony Dorsett, the fourth all-time rusher. It won't be long before he'll be number 3 on the list. Needs just over 100 yards to pass Franco Harris.
Certainly a factor to watch today, Don, is that Dan Reeves has stated throughout the preseason he'd like to get Tony Dorsett the ball either on runs or receptions 25 to 35 times a ball game. That's a lot of work for Tony Dorsett.
Tony wearing that mask, that Darth Vader look. He said the defense can't see where his eyes are looking. Back to Dorsett. And touchdown Tony breaks another one for first down to the 30-yard line. He did not have a good preseason, but when you're in your 12th year as a runner, they don't look for one just to get in shape. Averaged only 2.8 in the preseason, but running well today.
He wears his age on his shirt. There's Vance Johnson out there on the outside, and there's contact all over the place once the ball is snapped. Now, Vance Johnson has a block that he must make. And watch he and Melvin Jenkins. Well, there's no doubt that that's not a pass pattern. Mel Jenkins didn't like it at all. But Dorsett, a running back who, for all of his years in the NFL, never had a major injury as the measurement produces a first down. And Vance Johnson telling Mel Jenkins, it's going to be a tough day today, son. Sewell 30 on the little turnout block, and then Dorsett with that great acceleration from a very deep alignment in the offensive backfield of the Broncos. Very reminiscent of the way they used him in Dallas. Watch how deep he sets, Don.
About 7 yards back. Now he takes a couple other steps back as he goes into the I alignment.
That's Mobley. Orson Mobley in front of him is the lead blocker.
Dorsett's behind Mobley, and Tony Dorsett gets down to the 26-yard line. A first down carry, good for 5 yards. Clarence Kay, another tight end, also got a big block. The last line of defense, the free safety Eugene Robinson knocked him down.
Let me correct myself. It's Clarence Kay as the lead blocker, and his target, Brian Bosworth. Kay gets him on the ground, ends up being like a 6-yard pickup. And every time the Boz gets waylaid here in Denver, the fans like it big time.
Not a popular figure is the Boz. He could care less. He's selling a lot of books, making a lot of money. Yet to play like a superstar, though. Here is a free ball. Who's got it? Seattle thinks they do, and the official concurs, so we've had turnovers each way now. David Wyman, a standout linebacker from Stanford, who gets no press but deserves a lot, made the play.
Clarence Kay is out cold.
Clarence Kay knocked out on the play. We'll look again. It's a draw play to Dorsett. He lost it on a handoff, it appears. And now as they fight and go for the football, we finally have coming up with it David Wyman of the Seattle Seahawks. So Seattle stops the Denver bribe and goes in possession in a moment.
I don't know where to start telling you about Mazda.
This game of the season, they went to the Kingdom where Seattle won. First and 10 now for David Craig and the Seahawks. Ball at their 23. Warner, who lost a fumble earlier, gets some tough yards into the teeth of the Denver defense. He's out to about the 28-yard line, good for about 4. Where inside linebacker Rick Dennison knocked him down. As you see Clarence Kay, the injured tight end of the Broncos, going off the field. We'll have a report from the locker room as soon as possible. Game opened fast. Seattle got some big plays, and on a 19-yard run, the ball was knocked free. On that opening drive, free of Kurt Warner, and Denver took over for the first time, but they've been unable to score. High back is Warner with those shifting, turning moves. He gets to the 30, got only 2. It's going to be 3rd down and 3. Freddie Gilbert, number 90, was on the hit for Seattle, or for Denver.
You can see the effectiveness that Warner had last year Warner has averaged 5.5 yards per carry against Denver, 115 yards rushing a game, and he's their offensive game plan. When he can gain 120 yards, everything else they do works.
Another one to watch is Largent, who is a line second white man down, white jersey down from the top of the screen, and he's caught 90 career passes against Denver. Another big rush by the Denver Broncos knocks the ball free. Rulon Jones put the rush on. But Dave Craig trying to go to Steve Largent, couldn't get the ball away.
That's twice now that Dave Craig, sitting back in the pocket, tried to make very simple pass completions down the middle. And both times, first time by Simon Fletcher, this time by Rulon Jones, just able to tip the ball before Craig is able to throw it, and it goes for another incompletion.
Rodriguez hit a 37-yarder against a very big rush. There's speed coming from the right side of the Denver pass rush. There's Kevin Clark. He'll return the first one for 8 yards. Well hit ball by Rodriguez. Penalty markers down. On the run, Clark takes it. He's knocked out of bounds at the Denver 35-yard line. A 42-yard punt and a 7-yard return. Fight broke out after the play. Red Cash and the referee. Game clock down to 8:03 to play. And here's a holding call.
That's first down. That's first down Seattle.
You'll see a lot more punters rushed very hard because, as you know, this year it's only a 5-yard penalty if you rough the punter, not an automatic first down.
But this is before it's kicked. So
holding number 97 on the defense. Pull the man to let another man go through. 10 yards, first down.
Bruce Klosterman, a Bronco linebacker, called for holding.
It appeared the Denver Broncos were coming with a punt rush. You see 97 right there standing in front of you. He's right next to the center. You can see him right next to the center. He pulls either this man or this man and allows someone else to rush through free. Yeah, he pulls the left guard, and Sam Grady, 83, is the man going in there for the block. He's caught. Drive extended now for Seattle.
A lot of times they talk about somebody having world-class speed if he ran college track. Sam Grady does have world-class speed. Won a gold medal in the 4x100 relay for the U.S. at the '84 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. So it is a first down for Seattle on a play fake. Craig throws, and he gets Raymond Butler, who can't hold out. Good defense.
What's going on here?
Dennis Smith, who's had some good defense a couple of times in this game. And now, while we have a moment, let's go to Gail Gardner in New York. Fortunately, we had a little technical difficulty, so we're right here at Mile High Stadium. Craig so far throwing the ball has hit just 1 of 5.
For 26 yards, and that was the one pass to John L. Williams.
We have no score in the first quarter. Seahawks in the white and silver. The Denver in their orange crush at home uniforms. Digging in now on a second down and 10 plays. Warner the eye back. Craig takes a look. Letting it go long. He's going for Raymond Butler. The coverage is excellent, and the play is broken up inside the 35-yard line. Mark Haynes, veteran corner from Colorado, a former #1 draft choice of the Giants, who had a forgettable Super Bowl but has played well in the preseason.
Don, so far you can see Ray Butler totally covered by Mark Haynes. Dave Craig not making very good choices, and then when he does, the ball is batted down in his face. He's now 1 of 6 in the passing game for the Seahawks, not working.
And now the heat will really be on Dave Craig. Third down and 10 as the fans start up at Mile High with that Rocky Mountain Thunder, the stamping of their feet. They can take a team out of the shotgun because you can't hear the snap call. Big rush. Craig looking on the run. He's in trouble, and he's swept under at the 27-yard line by Simon Fletcher. Randy Robbins is also on the blitz, a DB.
So far, the Seahawk offensive line not doing a very good job of giving Craig time to set up. You can see he's flushed almost immediately by Randy Robbins, 48. There's nobody to throw it to downfield. 61 Townsend. Fletcher, 73, make the first sack of the day.
So once again, Rodriguez is set to punt the ball for Seattle. And there's Kevin Clark, who says on game day he wants to be known as KC Clark. Still the same guy. He's a good return man. Here's a big rush and a very good punt by Rodriguez, who booms it back inside the 20. It takes the roll, and it goes out of bounds at the 6-yard line.
Whoa.
So a huge punt by Rodriguez, 69 yards, and in the scoreless game, the Broncos get it again. Now the long field to go.
When I talked about how we deal with our customers, or any customer I'd have.
Ruben Rodriguez just set a Seahawk record with a 69-yard punt in the final preseason game, Trump, against the 49ers. What do you have, one for -6 yards?
-6 yards from his own end zone.
Fouled one off.
Actually, it was a super shank and barely made it out of the end zone. San Francisco scored on the ensuing play. In about 2 minutes and 25 seconds, Seattle allowed 21 points.
Denver had 2 very good field positions earlier in the game. Now they start with 94 yards to go to the Seattle end zone. No score.
Now they got Sewell and Winder in the backfield, Don.
Quick out. Nice hands by Natil as he turns up the sideline and gets the Broncos some room out to the 10-yard line. Bruce Schultz knocked him out of bounds. Browns and Chiefs are scoreless at Kansas City. New England's come back now to tie the Jets at 3-all with a field goal. Raiders in San Diego, no score first quarter. And the Colts have gone in front of Houston.
So far, I really thought this game would be a battle of 2 offenses. We've seen a lot of sputtering going on here by both Seattle and Denver to this point.
Major problem for the Seahawks defense last season was stopping the run. They gave up the most yards per carry of any team in the league, 4.7. This time they do a good job shutting it down. Steve Sewell carries, and Alonzo Mitz, who's starting it right in because Jeff Bryant had been out the whole training camp. He is back with the team, makes the stop.
Brian Bosworth now playing the other side, inside linebacker. Red Young is going to be moved to outside linebacker. On that one, Sammy Winder right at the knees of Brian Bosworth. He assists on the tackle. This is a very talented linebacker core of the Seattle Seahawks.
Brian was not an easy child, apparently.
Was in a playpen until he was 12, maybe.
They're down in about 4.5. Quick out. Nicely done by the Broncos. With the ball is Vance Johnson, and he's ahead for a Denver first down. A 15-yard gain on 3rd and 4 as the ball is advanced out to the 28-yard line. Johnson had a terrific preseason, caught 15 balls, 2 for touchdowns.
Patrick Hunter made the tackle. The pattern was run on Melvin Jenkins. You have to respect Van Johnson's speed. And Melvin Jenkins gave him too big a cushion, and with the rifle arm of John Elway, that's a disaster.
Elway, armed and dangerous. Nothing like him. When he's on the run, he's the most dangerous. Taking a look. Elway whips that fastball in, and too hot to handle at the 38-yard line. He was going to Johnson again.
Also thrown behind Johnson. Johnson runs the little slant pass. And when that John Elway throws it so hard, when it's not thrown perfectly, it is very difficult to catch, almost impossible to intercept. Watch this. And there's Vance Johnson.
Elway now
3 of 6 for 28 yards.
No score. First quarter. Mile High Stadium. 78,000 jamming as always. Broncos and Seahawks consider the opposition today their #1 rivals. Seahawks have surpassed the Raiders in the Broncos' opinion, and now Elway is swept under and does well to hold the ball as they whistle it dead. It's a sack back at the 15-yard line. Joe Nash and Alonzo Mitz put the heat on and got him. Alonzo Mitz, number 61, a defensive end from Florida. Speaks of himself in the third person, much like Louis XIV. He calls himself the Warrior. Says the Warrior's ready for a big game.
Well, this time the Warrior was just it wasn't a great pass rush by Seattle. They do get John Elway, but it was great coverage down the field by the Seattle Seahawks. Elway just ran out of time, and I think the coaching of Craig Morton is going to end up. There you see Vance Johnson open. John Elway was busy, could not get it to him.
Was he? Now for Elway and the Broncos from the shotgun, 3rd and 22. Will Hart gets the ball. And the linebackers stay home and make the knockdown, so Denver has to punt again.
Now, Don, that's why I think Seattle led the NFL last year in yards per carry against them. They had 7 defensive backs and 4 defensive linemen, and that's when teams run the ball. They're going to give up 5 or 6 yards on a lot of those rushes. I think that's a very misleading stat.
These teams base their success on offense, but their defenses have stood out so far today. As Horan is in, Bobby Joe Edmonds is back deep for Seattle. Horan's first punt was 44 yards. High spiral. It'll be returned though by Edmondson as 29. Great coverage. Tremendous play by Ken Bell. He made the team this year. Ken Bell made the team because of his special teams play. There were better runners in camp, but he made it as a running back only because of the plays like that. He holds the return to just 3 yards after a 48-yard punt.
Remember the Super Bowl? This was the opening play. The cheering was over for Denver and its fans at the end of that completion.
This Denver defense still reeling from that second quarter. The onslaught of the Redskins when they scored 35 points. John L. Williams powers his way straight at the Denver defense and gets the ball to the 35. Got only about 1.5 yards. Rick Dennison and Mecklenburg trump on the stop.
This is a very complicated Denver Bronco defense. It's not that the Seattle Seahawks can't block them. It's more that they can't find them. Every single snap, the Denver defense, by design of Joe Collier, gives you a little different look. And if they do it late enough, you got late line calls, and all of a sudden it's a confusing and frustrating day for an offensive line playing the Denver defense.
Both these teams are coming up 3-1 preseasons. 2nd and 7, Seattle. No score. 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Kurt Warner shut down by the Bronco defense. Mecklenburg was through. The 3-time Pro Bowler. 3 straight Pro Bowls for Mecklenburg.
Now you see what he does. He starts out, Don, lined up right over the nose, right over the center. So the center has got to identify him. I'm blocking him. Then he stands up. Now the center's got to change the line blocking. And if anybody misses it, all of a sudden there's somebody free. This time it's Mecklenburg, and he's there to make the tackle.
So now the pressure's on Craig again as he aligns in the shotgun. 3rd down and 5. Broncos with 8 men up front. He gets some time, gets an out pass. Largent has the ball and dives ahead, and Steve Largent might have a first down. A magnificent player. Dan Reeves says of him, watching him run patterns is watching an artist at work.
You see the streak continued, and every time he catches one, it's his own record. This is a delay outside. Randy Robbins was the man in coverage. It's just like a 3-yard reception. Good move inside. He beats the tackle of Mike Harden, picks up a first down. And he's basically been the only receiver that the Seattle Seahawks have had in their entire history.
Was a 4th-round draft choice at Houston. They cut him. He was on his way back to Tulsa to look for a job, and they called him and said, "We traded you to Seattle for an 8th-round draft choice." And as they say, the rest is history. As Craig lets it go long, and Butler can't get close to the ball.
Boy, there was contact there. Yeah, flag thrown.
Flag is thrown at the 35-yard line.
That's going to be on Jeremiah Castile. Butler did the out and up. And when Castile realized it was the up, he grabbed a hold of him.
.157 to go in the first quarter and still no score.
Yeah, that was obvious.
So we'll check the scoreboard while we have a moment. Jets and Patriots still tied. No score at Kansas City between the Browns and the Chiefs. Houston's come back to tie Indianapolis.
That ends up being a 23-yard penalty. Of course, Jeremiah Castile was the hero of the AFC Conference Championship game here. He made the hit on Ernest Biner that coughed the ball up, that stopped the winning, or I should say the tying drive by the Cleveland Browns.
First down Seattle from the 36-yard line, just outside the 35 of the Broncos. Warner missed an entire season with a knee injury, but came back to be better than ever. Rushed for almost 1,500 yards after the surgery. Simon Fletcher knocked him down. Kurt Warner's been a 1,000-yard rusher 3 of the last 4 years, and as pointed out earlier, he's had his best days against the Denver Broncos. In '86, he ran for 192 yards. in one game against Denver.
He's carrying a 6-yard average right now. Of course, his longest run was that 19-yarder that he fumbled. Kind of inflated his numbers a little bit. Actually, Denver's done a pretty good job to this point on Kurt Warner.
Craig, quick out, timing pattern to Raymond Butler, and he is ahead to the 25-yard line of Denver. Good for apparent first down. As the game clock in the first quarter ticks down to a minute to play, and still nothing on the board, no score.
Now that seems to me to be a matchup that Seattle can use all day. You got Ray Butler at 6'3", and I'd guess 205, maybe 210, against Jeremiah Castile, who is listed at 5'10". That is an out-and-out lie. But he's about 5'9", 5'9.5", maybe 170 pounds.
Castile's made some big plays defending today, but he also had an error called for a foul, and that kept this drive alive. As Seattle's challenging for perhaps the first points of the game, there's been a turnover each way. John L. Williams turns to the outside at 228 pounds and runs out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Dennis Smith comes over to knock him out. Williams was a first-round draft choice from Florida. Added bonus is a great ability to catch the ball.
And, of course, they got him to catch the ball and block. Be that lead blocker for Kurt Warner. Seattle does not like to use the offense that Denver does, which is putting tight ends in the backfield. The use of the H-back. Knox doesn't like that.
Chuck Knox looking on now in his 6th year as the host of the Seahawks. First down and 10. Craig, quarterback draw. I don't know if he called it, but he saw an opening. He got some yards. He got ahead for a gain of 6, maybe 7 yards inside the 15-yard line of the Broncos. Castile came in and knocked him down. That'll be the final play trump of the quarter.
That was also a design quarterback draw. No question about it. It was not a freelance play. They almost set up a trap for him so he could do it.
Coming with a wide rush. So the first quarter ends. There's no score, but the Seahawks are challenging. Time of possession distinctly Seattle's, almost 9 minutes. Now as they change ends, we go to 2nd down and 6. Here's a handoff to Kurt Warner. Nice block by Williams, but a nice defensive play too. As Dennis Smith, who's playing a terrific game for Denver, shot the gap, shed the block, and made the hit for little or no gain. He's the man who freed the ball from Kurt Warner on that opening drive.
And one of the things that Joe Collier likes so much about Dennis Smith is that they can almost use him as another linebacker. With the design of this downsized defense that Denver has played over the years, they take the guys up front, they get rid of the blockers, and then their safeties, who must be great tacklers, do make the tackle.
3rd down and 3, as you see, a shotgun set. Denver secondary with less room to protect. They go to the run, and here comes Williams with a blocker in front, and John L. Williams bangs to the 4-yard line. It's a first down for Seattle, and you'll see it come right at you on the replay.
Don, it used to be the teams would hide the pass. Now they hide the run. In this formation, the Seahawks have 4 wide receivers. Williams, the lone setback. He's got 1 linebacker assigned to him, Ryan, who must come all the way across the defense, and therefore he can pick up the first down.
Ron Madison, Mike Wilson, the tackles for Seattle. Edwin Bailey, who led the blocking there, and Brian Millard are the guards. Millard is a player to watch, 71. He's a standout, and Blair Bush, a very consistent center out of the University of Washington. Our formation on 1st and goal, pitch back Warner. 2 blockers in front, and Warner takes it in standing up, and the Seahawks go up with the first points of the game on a 5-yard run by Kurt Warner, as the blocks that let him in were crushing.
John L. Williams and the Seahawks take a page out of Canadian football. Watch him go in motion first. You also got 71, Millard out there in the pull. He seals inside. John L. Williams kicks outside. That's an easy 5-yard run for a score.
Now the point after attempt by Norm Johnson. Jeff Kent will hold. It's on the way and good, and so the pass interference call looms large in this game. It kept the drive alive, and finally Warner goes in, and the Seahawks lead.
A performance.
With Bob Trumpy, this is Don Criqui at Mile High Stadium. There's Kurt Warner, who fumbled early in this game to stop a drive, and then has come back in Kurt Warner's style. He's now rushed 8 times for 39 yards. The last for just under 5 yards, and the only score of the game at 7-0 Seattle. Clarence Kay is being looked at, being examined by specialists right now. A neck and back injury in an earlier play. He was taken from the field on a stretcher. Still no report as to the extent of his injury. Big special teams play by the Seahawks. Alonzo Mitz, the man who calls himself the Warrior, is indeed playing a big game. And Bell ran the kickoff back for Denver. Garcia hit a field goal for the Patriots. Leahy hit one for the Jets. They're tied up in the second quarter at Foxborough. Big plays at Indianapolis. Steve Brown ran back an interception, 44 yards for a Houston touchdown after Hogaboom had hit Booz on a scoring pass to put the Colts in front. Orson Mobley, the tight end, and Pat Kelly, a rookie, also in at tight end, as the Broncos with Elway at quarterback. Take their time getting the play in motion, and they go to the run. And straight up the middle is Sammy Winder getting his first call of the day. Schultz knocked him down, gain of about 4.
On that scoring drive, you said extended by the pass interference penalty on Jeremiah Castile. Also, the Seahawks converted 3 third downs in that drive to first downs. Last year, they led the NFL in third down conversions, 49%. That is ball possession offense.
Ball position at the 17-yard line. Elway to lead this game off. Tried to go deep and get it all in one play. Receiver went down, but it was ruled both were going for the ball. Receiver and defender, there was no foul. He hasn't put up the long ball since. He's going to right now as he turns from upfield, and it's caught for a first down. Vance Johnson with a nicely moved. Came down across the 30, came back at the ball, and took it for a 14-yard gain. Now let's go to Gail Gardner in New York.
Thank you, Don. In Indianapolis, the Colts were leading the Oilers 7-0 on a Gary Hogaboom touchdown pass. But this time around, it was Hogaboom picked off by Houston Steve Brown. He returns it 44 yards for the score. Game is now tied at 7. Let's go back to Don and Bob in Denver.
And here in Denver, we have 11:55 to play in the first half. Seattle in the white uniforms leading the favored Denver Broncos 7-0. Tough yards up the middle, knocked down at second base was Tony Dorsett. It's also the home of the Denver Zephyrs.
Milwaukee Brewers AAA Farm Club. There you see that new shield worn by an awful lot of players in the NFL. And Dorsett has a different use for it.
Well, he says he doesn't want the defenders to see his eyes.
How'd he
Darth Vader look.
Yeah, how'd he gain those 12,000 yards without that?
Give you an idea how long he's been at it. He's 3 months older than Walter Payton.
Older.
Dorsett goes out. Winder goes back in, and Elway looks to throw on 2nd down and 6. Lots of time, and there's a long ball that Eugene Robinson almost picks off as a free safety.
Intended for Mobley, overthrown. I tell you, one of the difficult things about playing football against John Elway is that unless you are set to intercept that ball right through the hands like a stone skipping on a lake. And that time Robinson was close enough to catch that ball, but it just almost took him right off the ground. Now watch Elway. As soon as he throws it, he knows it's too high.
Rising fastball took off on him. Now Elway goes to the shotgun on 3rd down and 7. Another errant throw, and so the Broncos will have to punt the ball back to Seattle.
Elway now 4 of 9 for 42 yards, and he's just not really on the money. Last week, he strained his shoulder. He has said, for the last 10 days, my shoulder's fine. It aches a little bit, but it's no problem whatsoever. It may be fine. My only question is, was there a little less activity this week to kind of rest his shoulder, because he does not look sharp to this point?
Well, him saying it's fine and it being fine are two vastly different items.
Yes.
Mike Horan ready to punt again now for the Broncos. He'll hit it at his 25. Not too deep. Edmonds comes up on it. He'll have trouble handling it. It hops out of bounds at the 28-yard line. 37-yard punt. John Elway getting some counsel from Dan Reeves, or maybe giving some as they talk over the game plan. But right now it's Craig in Seattle coming out to run the ball.
Don, you ask a question here in Denver, you get an answer. Jim Sacamano just told us that John Elway took all his normal snaps during the week, so his shoulder must be fine. Dan Reeves, head coach and now offensive coordinator, since Mike Shanahan goes to the Los Angeles Raiders. Reeves now totally responsible for the offense.
Nothing wrong with Elway's velocity. It's his accuracy early. Here is Kurt Warner doing well to get back to the line of scrimmage and maybe a yard beyond. Jim Ryan came up to get him. These two teams have played 13 times over the last 5 years, including the playoffs, and Seattle has the edge 7-6. Although Denver is so dominant here at Mile High Stadium. In those 13 games over the last 5 years between the Seahawks and the Broncos, when you total up all the points scored by both sides, only 12 points separate them.
Wow.
Denver scored 12 more.
Denver was 9-1 at home last year.
Second down and 8. John L. Williams. He's a load, and John L. Williams with speed and power takes it down to the 45-yard line of Seattle. Gain of 15 yards on the play and a first down for the Seahawks. Denver's continuing problems, Trump, with stopping the run.
Watch what happens when Carl Mecklenburg jumps out of the offensive line of scrimmage. The Seahawks run a nice little trap here. You see a good lead by Kurt Warner, and John L's able to cut it right up there in a nice little spot. This is very well done, and now Seattle appears to be catching on to what Denver's doing defensively. You see 77 Mecklenburg making the desperation try.
First and 10. Play fake, and that buys time for Craig, and man, caromed off the thigh pad of John L. Williams.
He was not expecting that one. John L. has better hands than that.
It's like the Trumpy of old out there.
Shame on you. Bite your tongue. Take it back.
Actually, you went back.
I'll settle for that. So that one bounced right off his knee pad or his thigh board and was almost up for an interception. Watch this one. Craig not known to throw the ball extremely hard, but John L. doesn't get his hands ready, and bang.
It was in play, that ball. Broncos were honing in on it, but couldn't get to it. So it's now second down and 10 as they go to a split backfield, Warner and Williams. John L. Big play by Mecklenburg. Now Mecklenburg coming on a blitz, makes the play and knocks down John L. Williams for a loss back to the 41-yard line.
See, he's untouched. The guard 71 Millard pulls, and 77 Mecklenburg untouched, and that's one of the things that Denver tries to do very often, is just get somebody untouched. That's an easy play for Denver.
Seattle was the most effective team in the National Football League last year on third down, converting a third down to a first down. They did it 49% of the time. But it's a long shot. They'll do it here. It's third down and almost 15. 7-0 Seattle in the second quarter. Here's a blitz. Tyrone Braxton, number 34, who made the team with very spirited play in the preseason, comes unattended to on a blitz and makes the knockdown.
On to this point, the Denver Broncos have done an excellent job in coverage down the field. Again, you saw Dave Craig with nobody to really throw the ball to. Braxton, one of the 6 defensive backs out there on a late blitz, gets an easy sack. The shotgun is not working for Seattle either. Craig's been back there twice. He's been sacked twice and 1 completion.
The biggest difference in this game has been Seattle's defense. Well hit ball again by Rodriguez, whose last was a team record 69 yards. Driving back Clark, but he'll return it. The white shirts trying to get him as Clark is knocked out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. Rufus Porter came across to make the hit.
Traffic 2 over.
The Ford Temple.
Back at Denver's Mile High Stadium, Seattle leads the favored Broncos 7-0. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy as we look at the other late starting games today in the American Conference. Cleveland and Kansas City still scoreless. Indianapolis has now taken a 14-7 lead on Houston, and San Diego and the Raiders, who gave up a lot of points in the preseason, have yet to score any here in the first game. Raiders gave up the most of any team, 118 in the preseason, but had a lot of offense, too. Out pattern, nicely done by the Broncos. First down is Elway. Throws a timing pattern, gets it out to Vance Johnson. 11-yard gain against Melvin Jenkins, who's starting for Terry Taylor, the player who normally starts at left corners on suspension.
Watch John Elway's delivery here. Sets up, throws the ball, does not show any discomfort whatsoever. That one was on the money. And maybe what Dan Reeves has done here is said, look, let's get back to fundamentals. Get John in some rhythm, because when this kid gets hot, there is nobody in the game like him. And the Denver Broncos are not much of a team without him hot offensively.
Front seven of the Seahawks playing strong. Green, Nash, and Mitz across the front. Schultz, Bosworth, Wyman, and Woods, the backers. Elway with a pump fake. Nice thrown. Puts it down. Here's a hard stick by Eugene Robinson. But the play is made by Mark Jackson for 16 yards, and the Broncos have a first down.
Excellent choice by John Elway. When he first pumps this ball, Mark Jackson is covered. Now watch his first pump. You can see the coverage. Then he waits. Good time, good protection by the offensive line. And now the Broncos showing signs of getting their offense in sync. He's now 6 of 11 for 72 yards. That one for 16.
The Broncos, though, still without points. It's Seattle 7, Denver nothing. 7:15 to go in the first half. Sewell on a cutback. Hard hit put on by Wyman. He is a player. This David Wyman, drafted in the second round a year ago. 92.
How about a guy who was drafted, traded, flunked the physical, comes back to Seattle, has shoulder surgery, goes through training camp, now starts. This is the old wingback reverse. He used to run in college to Steve Sewell. Wyman right there to make the tackle. Talk about a tough kid, yes. Had a major knee injury in college, major shoulder surgery, playing very well for the Seahawks.
See the Seattle backers to the right of your screen playing well off the line. They have bigger responsibility this year to run and tackle. Here's a throw and a catch and a first down for the Broncos. As again, it's Steve Sewell coming out of the backfield, and Elway going to shorter patterns, puts it right on the numbers.
And that's the point. The shorter patterns to get number 7 in sync. Get him comfortable. Get a little confidence back, because he was overthrowing people, missing them a little bit. Now what you've also seen is receivers standing still or moving very slowly, not going for the big shot here.
Great speed deployed to the left side. 84, ready to run a pattern, Ricky Nattiel. But they go to Sewell, and he comes back, and Sewell, a former #1 draft choice from Oklahoma, takes it down to the 21-yard line. The safety stopped him from going a lot further, maybe the distance, and Moyer and Robinson made the tackles.
Now, one thing about this Denver offense, they'll do anything, anywhere. In the last 3 plays, they run 2 wingback reverses. All that time with a nice pickup. Good block by Ken Karts, the offensive guard out in front of him. Keith Karts, excuse me.
9-yard gain on the play. Second down and 1 for Elway and the Broncos, as they now are knocking on the door, trailing 7-0. Winder breaks 1 tackle and 2, and Sammy Winder tries to make the turn and does, and he is down inside the 10-yard line. Patrick Hunter finally rode him out of bounds, but Winder, who lost his starting job to Dorsett, and a lot of people here felt that Dorsett won the starting job the day the trade was made. Winder comes on to have a big play.
This is a great cutback. You see Jacob Green, 79, almost makes the tackle. Jimmy Winder gets very little respect here in Denver, but can turn into big plays, and this has been a very nice drive by the Denver Broncos. Started at their own 26. They've had it for a lot of plays and a long time.
Dorsett and Wilhite. That's Dorsett standing into the line, and he gets to about the 7-yard line as the game clock is down now to 4:50 to play. Second quarter, it's a 7-0 game, Seattle. Seahawks went long drive, and finally they got in on a Kurt Warner run from 5 yards.
And to show you how successful the Broncos have been on this drive, they had 3 first downs going into this drive. They've made 4 on this drive.
Eighth play of this drive coming up. Mark Jackson to the right. Natil goes out to the left, so does Sewell. Elway looks into the end zone. A hard strike. It's down into the 2-yard line. Bosworth saves the touchdown, if but for the moment, as Gerald Wilhite made the reception. And it'll be 3rd down and goal from there, from the 2.
This is where Denver has always had its problems. 3rd and short, 1st and goal. You remember the Super Bowl against the New York Giants? They just have a great deal of difficulty getting the ball in, primarily because they don't have big offensive linemen up front. I would bet that they'll go with the 4 wide receiver or 3 wide receiver set. Let's see. No, they got the power backs. Sewell, Kelly, Orson Mobley, Wilhite, and Dorsett.
Still no further report on injured tight end Clarence Kay, as Wilhite the play fake and a touchdown to Orson Mobley. Everybody looking at Wilhite as Elway pulled the ball back and spun and throws for a touchdown to 265-pound tight end Orson Mobley. And the Broncos are on the board and an extra point away from possibly tying this game.
Good play fake to Gerald Wilhite. Mobley uncovered in the end zone. That play fake held the linebackers. The closest man in coverage is Melvin Jenkins, but generally that's the safeties coverage there or the linebackers. Somebody missed Mobley completely. He's hard to hide at 6'5", 255.
Now Kubiak to hold and Carlos to kick with 3:27 to play in the first half. Denver looking to tie the game. Nicely done by Kubiak, taking a hard high snap and getting it in position. And it's a 7-7 game.
The Denver bench now realizing that Denver Broncos get it in the end zone. There's Craig Morton right there back to you, former Denver Bronco quarterback, or number 7 when they played in the Super Bowl in 1977. Now the fans in Mile High Stadium have something to cheer about, and that's always a big factor for the Denver Broncos.
Craig Morton, one of 16 assistant coaches on the Denver team. They lead the league in assistant coaches. Wasn't that long ago the rosters were 33 players.
Yeah, they got the assistant coaches on this team got to have their own bus to the ballpark.
Halftime will be going to NFL Live in New York to Gail Gardner, Paul McGuire, and the crew as they check out opening day 1988. Some upsets are indeed on the board. The Bills upsetting the Vikings at Buffalo as one.
Don, we're mentioning John Elway getting in sync. He was 5 for 5 on that drive. And let's give some credit to Dan Reeves.
They got the sound meter up on the scoreboard now, and they're just blowing this place apart with noise. We could have a sound off between Seattle and Denver fans.
I think Seattle would win only because it's enclosed.
Coach Reeves, now in his 8th year, exhorting his Broncos to get down and cover. As 2 men are back, Bobby Joe Edmonds and David Hollis for Seattle.
I think that was a big drive for this football team for this season. Dan Reeves got control of that drive, built confidence back in John Elway. It's always a question when your head coach takes over as your offensive coordinator.
Short kick, and it carries out of bounds at the 25-yard, the 15-yard line.
Come out to the 30.
Yep. No re-kicks. New England with another field goal by Garcia has now taken a 6-3 lead on the Jets. A maligned team that everyone was expecting to get blown out. The Raiders have now gone on the scoreboard. Indianapolis continues to lead Houston. Marcus Allen with an 11-yard touchdown run for the Raiders with 3:40 to go in the second quarter. Second Indianapolis scoring an Albert Bentley 1-yard touchdown run. Field goals at New England and nothing at Kansas City. Browns and Chiefs are scoreless. Second time he gets it back, but inside his 25-yard line, so there's a loss on the play of 11 yards.
Dennis Smith and Jim Ryan right there. That was close. Warner, while on the ground, that thing almost got away. This is a good pitch by Kurt Warner. He just misses it. He's looking upfield for that first block. Now watch this thing almost get away. Ryan, number 50, almost able to rip that from his hands. And now it's 2nd down and 20. Dave Wyman on the sideline.
Now on 2nd down and about 20. David Craig sets up in the shotgun from his 20. 7-7 game. Here comes the blitz. Markers down as the ball is slapped back. Jerry Robbins, it looks like. Randy Robbins knocked it back. He's done that twice today.
That's the 3rd time that's happened to Dave Craig. We got a flag. Here's Red Cashin.
Start before the snap, be a 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Well, that drive by the offense certainly ignited the crowd, which adds to the confusion for Seattle. It's going to be 2nd down and 25 here. And to this point, Seattle's not been able to get the ball down the field at all. The one long play, the pass reception by John L. Williams, was about a 5-yard throw and about a 14-yard run. That was basically it.
Pass interference call against Denver. Sustained a long drive by Seattle for the opening score of the game in the 2nd quarter when they scored on a 5-yard Warner touchdown run. Broncos come back on a touchdown throw. Elway to Mobley from a yard out to tie the game. 2nd and 20. John L. Williams puts his head down and gets nothing at all as we wind down to the 2-minute warning.
Good job there by the Denver defense. They had 6 defensive backs. They had a 4-man front, 1 linebacker. Jim Ryan makes the tackle on the draw.
Army challenges you to identify the best in the game in this session of Chalk Talk.
Every team needs a leader. On the Los Angeles Rams, our leadership comes from an offensive lineman.
Don, so far in this half, Dave Craig, not a very good first half. 3 of 9, 39 yards. He got 26 yards on 1 pass completion to John L. Williams. He's been sacked twice, had 3 passes blocked at the line of scrimmage, and they face 3rd down and 25. You got a call? Make it right here, Coach.
Let her rip. Denver will be having 3 guys playing 20 yards off the ball. They do. Drop back triple safeties in that zone coverage as Craig will be standing in against a big rush.
Sweet.
Goes to Williams. John L. Williams spins away, working hard to get to the 30-yard line and not done till he gets to the 35. But still way short of a 1st down, and so Seattle has to punt the ball.
I think you can see the problem that Seattle has here. They don't trust themselves on the pass, and Steve Largent, the game's all-time leading pass receiver on this one, plays blocker. Top of the screen, 80-61, gets Townsend on the ground. 32, John L. Williams picks up 15 yards on the carry. It's not enough for a 1st down, but it does make him feel better.
Leave it to the good hands, people. At Allstate, we understand that the faster it's better, the sooner you're better. Fast, fair claim service. Another reason.
Don Crookie with Bob Trumpy back at Mile High Stadium. Our producer today for NBC Sports is George Finkel. Our director, John Gonzalez. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. Right now, we're in the closing stages of the 1st half. 1:45 to play in it. Denver, though, will have plenty of time for Elway to put his right arm to use as the punt comes downfield to Clark from Rodriguez. Takes a hop back upfield. A marker is down, however.
Marker's down downfield, too. 33-yard punt. That's down downfield, not at the line of scrimmage. That costs you more yards generally. Holding. Yeah, there we go. Against Seattle. Against Denver.
A lot of Broncos on the field, an offensive unit and a kick coverage unit. Well, halftime, we'll be going to NFL Live for the scores and the stories of opening day.
Number 38 by the receivers after the ball is kicked. It'll be 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Bruce Plummer with a critical error. Young player who had a standout preseason made the team, but that defensive holding call results in a Seattle 1st down. You'll remember there's only scoring drive of this day for Seattle came after a pass interference call against Castile. Looking at the scoreboard, the Bears dominant over Miami. Rams had no problem with the Packers at Green Bay. Mike Rozier's just run a yard for a touchdown, and Houston has tied Indianapolis at 14.
Seattle takes a timeout here. They didn't have enough guys on the field. 3, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, yeah, they had enough guys on the field, but they had the wrong defensive configuration. They're bringing other guys in now.
Holding call will set the ball back to the 22. Got a good position. Elway now has about 78 yards to go. And they're Philadelphia destroying Tampa Bay in that opener. And the Lions having little trouble beating Atlanta today. Brown still unable to score at Kansas City.
That surprises me. New England Jets did not surprise me. 6-3. Cleveland, Kansas City, nothing in the second surprises me.
Might surprise the Jets. They didn't have a good preseason at all. But they pay off on opening day, and 1:36 to go in the first half. Last year in the second quarter, Seattle led 17-7, and Denver erupted on opening day for 33 unanswered points to win in a rout. Elway throws it away on first down.
And that was a screen intended for Steve Sewell, number 30. Well diagnosed by Seattle, no throw whatsoever. John looks at the sideline. Hand signals in by Gary Kubiak, the backup quarterback, number 8. There's his numbers, and most of the good parts of those numbers came in the last drive.
See Elway's passing numbers. Last year at halftime, Kurt Warner had 81 yards and 9 carries for Seattle. Then they had to get away from the run and go to the pass because they were behind in the game. On 2nd and 10, Elway stands in, whips one upfield to Sewell. It's good for a gain of about 7 yards. Coming underneath the zone, Vernon Dean, a longtime Redskin player, picked up as a free agent, number 31. An extra defensive back makes the stop, and Denver calls timeout.
We're watching the prevent defense here by the Seattle Seahawks. The much maligned, in my estimation, prevent defense. With 1:18 to go, the Broncos will now have 1 timeout left, I believe. Yes. And all you're trying to do as a defensive player is keep the offensive player in bounds, let him make the catch in front of you. And if you're offense, of course, you want to get to the sideline and stop the clock. You don't fight for inches to save seconds. That's Tom Catlin, the defensive coordinator, on the right there with the headset. He's talking to Eugene Robinson, 41, Bosworth there, 55. This is where Seattle is very, very dangerous. They come with 6 and 7. And last year, a couple of years ago, one time they had 8 defensive backs in the ball game.
Ralph Hawkins, who coaches their defensive secondary, have to make a lot of adjustments this week. Gary Taylor went on suspension for 30 days. And, of course, one of the great players in the Seahawks history had to retire this year. Kenny Easley, the brilliant, strong safety from UCLA, because of a kidney ailment. Seattle holding Denver to 7. It's a 7-7 game. Pitch to Wilhite. That old Dallas Cowboy offense. That's one thing Dorsett said, Trump, when he came here. It's not hard to learn the offense because it's the same one we had at Dallas. Reeves was offensive coordinator at Dallas for 8 years.
That's the shovel pass. They go right back to the line of scrimmage. It's first down Denver.
57 seconds to go. A throw and a catch. Down with the ball is Vance Johnson. 20-yard gain as the Broncos quickly go into alignment. 45 seconds to go. You see the scoreboard clock, which is official. Elway stops it with 41 seconds to play.
Just by throwing it into the ground. I think all these NFL teams learned this from the San Diego Chargers. I think Dan Fouch was the first one to do this. Take the ball from center. You take no chances on the long snap from the shotgun and just throw it directly into the ground. Clock stops. Doesn't cost you a timeout. And you go 2nd down and 10. There's Carlos on the sideline.
Talk about a long shot to make an NFL roster. He was one of almost 500 people that tried out to be a place kicker. He had to pay his own way out, didn't he?
That is correct. Matter of fact, guys that ran the 40, some of them ran the 40 and Florsheim wingtip shoes.
Brought him in and ran him out, and Carlos stayed. Here's a tip ball, and it's almost intercepted. Very nearly picked off by Vernon Dean, a former San Diego State standout. One of the NFL's fastest players. He was cut by the Redskins. Played in 2 Super Bowls for them.
This ball tipped at the line of scrimmage. Right off the helmet of Joe Nash, 72, and Dean just can't hang on to it. So it's 3rd and 10. Actually, they're in a 2-down situation here. 36 seconds left. They need about 15 yards for Carlos. So if they don't pick up the first down here, they got to go for it on 4th too.
Clock starts up down to 33 as Elway throws, and he's picked off. Nesby Glasgow running it back, and he's not done as he crosses midfield with 26 seconds left. The clock is stopped. An interesting story. Nesby Glasgow, a standout player at the University of Washington and a long-time Colt with Baltimore and Indianapolis. He was waived this summer. He called Chuck Knox and asked for a tryout. They looked at him, they liked him, and he comes up with a play to stop a Denver drive.
He's just playing center fielder, 22. The ball was intended for Natil 84. And eventually those 6 defensive quarterbacks lose track of exactly who's where. Glasgow just standing there and making the catch. I see Dave Craig getting a play on the sideline. There's Glasgow on the sideline. Seahawks have not been able to get the ball down the field. We've got 26 seconds to get some points on the board here in the first half.
So now Craig gets in the shotgun, trying to get the ball downfield and in field goal range. Johnson can hit it from a long way for the Seahawks if he gets a chance. 4-man rush, throwing a catch, and a drop by Raymond Butler.
That's 2. Boy, that was right there on his hip.
Ray Butler, a former Colt also, who was cut a couple of years ago and came to Seattle and worked into a starting position.
Well, Craig has had him knocked down. He's been sacked, and he's had him dropped. Where do I have to put it? Sew a pocket in your shirt. I'll try to get it in there.
John L. Williams in to block for Craig. You see the game clock showing 21 seconds to go, second quarter. It's tied 7-7. Williams with a good catch. He gets out of bounds inside the 45-yard line of Denver, down to about the 43. Castile ran him out. 14 seconds left. Time for 2 throws. If they can stop it, put it up.
From here, it would be a 60-yard field goal attempt. So that's unrealistic.
Not here.
You don't think so?
I saw a guy kick one in New Orleans one day, 63. I fell out of the booth.
You weren't the only one. Tom Dempsey's still famous for that kick. The one thing about Seattle now is they got to work to the sideline even with their timeouts.
Craig on the run, throws on the run, and he's too high for Paul Scanzi at the 33-yard line.
Made the right choice, though. In a lot of situations, you see young quarterbacks, end of a game or end of a half, they run that ball. There was nobody in front of him, but if he runs that ball, time expires on the clock. He knows he's got to throw it. Now watch. You see where the umpire's standing? There is nobody there. But he's going to eat so much time off the clock, he realizes, I've got to make a completion. Good choice by Dave Craig.
Coach Knox is not pleased after that development. It brings up 4th down now. 8 seconds to play in the first half. 7-7 game. Craig backpedaling, looking long, letting it go as far as he can. Up for grabs in the end zone, and it's incomplete. Raymond Butler was the closest Seahawk to it. And that will conclude the first 2 quarters of play. A standoff 7-7 at Mile High Stadium. Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, Paul McGuire, Gail Gardner all standing by at NFL Live in New York. They'll update you on opening day 1988 in the NFL. And we'll be back after this as Seattle and Denver go to the locker room tied at 7-7 in the Boz. The kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Just got a good report on Clarence Kay. He won't play again today. He has a bruised spinal cord, but all tests for a serious injury are negative. Ken Bell runs it back now for Denver to open the 3rd quarter of play and gets the ball to the 20-yard line. Repeating the initial diagnosis of Clarence Kay, the injured tight end for Denver, is that he has a bruised spinal cord. The injury, according to all tests given, is not of a serious nature. All tests for serious spinal cord injury have been negative, so that's a very encouraging report. He left the field in the first quarter, knocked out, rushing the passer, or actually rushing downfield to block. He was knocked down by David Wyman, a linebacker for Seattle. Wyman coming at him hard on a clean play, and now Dorsett carries and not very far as he actually loses a yard back to the 19-yard line. Jacob Green, a big defensive end from Texas A&M, who's been to the Pro Bowl the last 2 years, made the stop.
We come in here talking about these two offense with their weapons. For Seattle on offense, Warner, Largent, and Craig, and for Denver on offense, Dorsett, John Elway, Vance Johnson. This has been a first half of defenses.
35-7.
John Elway getting set to set up in the shotgun on 2nd down and 11 in this tie game, 7-7. Early in the third quarter, temperature in the 70s, cloudless skies. Big rush, throw, and an interception. The ball is picked off by Melvin Jenkins, and he's not done till he's inside the 10 and down to the 6-yard line. So for a second time, John Elway, and that trumpets the last 2 passes that he's thrown that have been intercepted.
I think that ball was intended for Ricky Nattiel, and there's great coverage. Watch 21 at the bottom of your screen, sitting there looking at John Elway's eyes. Moyer makes the hit. Jenkins there on the interception. And then eventually Vance Johnson pulls him down trying to get the ball away, but the second turnover of the day by the Denver Broncos, and quite obviously the best field position that the Seattle Seahawks have had today to start a drive.
Melvin Jenkins, who played in the Canadian League 3 years and came to the Seahawks as a free agent, now puts them in position to possibly go ahead in the game. They start with their best starting position. Here's the handoff to Warner, and he takes a hard shot at the 4-yard line. Gain on the play of perhaps 3 yards. It was 1st and goal from the 7. Mike Harden, a free safety, came up to make the tackle. Elway picked off late in the second quarter, you'll remember, when Nesby Glasgow got him when the Broncos were driving, and now to open the third quarter, he's picked off on a tip ball by Melvin Jenkins. So it is now 2nd and goal for the Seahawks in the 7-7 game at the 5-yard line of the Broncos. Warner trying to cut back. Simon Fletcher ran him down. 73, a former linebacker who's one of the fastest players on the Denver defense now. Moving out to the outside linebacker position. He's been a defensive end, inside backer. He's big and rangy, 6'6", 245 pounds.
Ran around the block, Don. You don't plan on that in short yardage situations like that. Simon Fletcher was untouched to make the tackle.
They double up on Largent, wide to the right. At the top of your screen, that's Largent. Smith comes over to double. They might have him triple with.
Watch Craig here on the draw.
Craig throws, and it's caught for a touchdown. Raymond Butler, who dropped 2 balls in the first half, weaving in the back of the end zone, running free. Craig got time, and he made it count as he loops it in for the touchdown and puts Seattle in front 13-7.
Oh, the Broncos took a chance on that defense. Ryan, number 50, the middle linebacker, went with a man in motion. Look, the umpire's standing there, but if Craig runs up the middle, he goes for the score. Good time, good pass protection. Harden doesn't see the ball thrown, 31, and Butler does make this catch for 6.
Seattle is only 2-8 in its last 10 games here at Mile High Stadium. Norm Johnson on the field to try the point after it's on the way, and it's good. And so an interception and subsequent return to the 7-yard line is turned into a touchdown on the Craig throw. Raymond Butler, after a couple of drops in the first half, comes up with an end zone catch for the go-ahead score. It's 14-7, and now the Seahawks ready to kick it off. Back deep for Denver are Ken Bell and Ricky Nattiel, 2 burners. This is Nattiel. What a flyer he is. The #1 draft choice a year ago, and he gets out to the 24-yard line. Our NBC statistician, Dennis Mnuchin, pointing out that while it was projected Dorsett Trump was going to be in a lot, has been involved in only 7 of 36 plays today for 20 yards gained rushing. He's caught no passes.
Not good. And for John Elway, who went through the preseason without an interception, thrown 2 today, both tipped. But with the exception of one drive, has not looked very good throwing the football.
Reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the game. Elway and the Broncos, 76 yards from the Seattle end zone. He gets time and he throws. It's incomplete at the 30-yard line. Looked to be a good throw. Wyman was covering the first back out. That was Sammy Winder, the intended receiver.
One of the aspects of this Seattle Seahawks defense is, with the exception of Bruce Schultz, I think when you got Tony Woods, Wyman, and Brian Bosworth, all three very excellent in covering running backs out of the backfield. That time Wyman all over Sammy Winder. There's been great coverage underneath for the Seahawks all day long.
Their defense has fought it out. Their coach Chuck Knox talks about the individual battles that have to be won within the team framework. And Wyman is fighting a big battle today. The inside backer. Here comes Boz on a blitz. Long ball downfield. Too much on it. Nice coverage on the play. They were going after Melvin Jenkins again, the free agent from Cincinnati and out of a Canadian Football League. He set up the go-ahead touchdown a few minutes ago with an interception and a return to the 7-yard line.
You see Seattle employing the blitz here. Brian Bosworth on a control blitz. He looks like he also has some help from the inside, but Ken Lanier, 76, pushes him out of the way. When in doubt, the Denver Broncos try to go deep.
The Boz in his book, Trump, says he doesn't like that Elway smile. He looks like Mr. Ed.
Well, number 7 plays like Secretariat. Makes no difference what he looks like.
He does indeed. Elway, soft ball. Oh, almost caught, almost intercepted. And it's an incomplete, a long out at the 49-yard line.
He's hurt, too. Vance Johnson got hit right in the head.
This guy had never played college football at Arizona. He ran track.
Watch this. Watch what happens. The defensive back cuts in front, tips it. And when Johnson goes for the ball, it's Eugene Robinson makes the hit. Vance Johnson up and all right. Steve Antonopoulos, the fellow there on the left of Vance Johnson, been a busy day today.
Eugene Robinson, one of those free agents. He played collegiately at Colgate, which turns out for a small school, a lot of good NFL players. Came in here, made it as a free agent, starting free safety, calls the defensive signals along with Bosworth and Wyman. High punt by Horan downfield. Bobby Joe Edmonds beats one tackler, and he's on the run across the 40 and out to the 43-yard line. 48-yard punt, 15-yard return, and it's Seattle by 7.
For those little trips that turn into wild adventures, suddenly there's the new 4-door Mitsubishi Montero. V6 power and 4-wheel drive help you avoid snarling beasts. Montero offers surprising comfort under the most savage conditions, and it even has more room than Jeep Cherokee. The new 4-door V6 Montero, because sometimes it's a jungle out there.
Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice.
What kind of man uses Skin Bracer aftershave? A man who knows the difference between footwork and road work, between a snow job and a job well done, between something that merely makes you smell good.
We're back at Denver where the underdog Seahawks have taken the lead 14-7. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. John Elway's gone a bit cold for the Broncos. Of his last 6 passes, 4 have been incomplete and 2 have been intercepted. That's very un-Elway-like.
You're absolutely correct, and this is a very important game in a lot of ways for Denver, and one of the most important is how the offensive coordinator now, Dan Reeves, handles situations like this. Now, they had one good drive in the second half when they turned conservative, but on the other side of the coin for the Seattle Seahawks, now this has got to be where you use John L. Williams and Kurt Warner until they drop, leading by 7 away from home.
You called it. They're going to run the ball at Denver.
So they pass.
Just like that. Right up the middle. Here's a long ball, and it is a short arm by Warner.
I don't understand this. This is a team that averaged 146 yards rushing per game last year, the Seattle Seahawks, as you look at the ticker. 3-3 Cleveland, Kansas City. Jets
Steve
failed
Grogan to Irving Fryer for a 26-yard touchdown.
Nice to know Irving found the place today.
Heisman Trophy winner Tim Brown apparently is legit. It's not just Notre Dame he returns kickoffs for. He ran one back for the Raiders, 97 yards for a touchdown.
Watch the price that Dave Craig pays on this.
Oh, man.
Freddie Gilbert hits him right in the breastplate.
And Freddie's a big man. 280 pounds, and he can run. 2nd and 10 now. Now we're going to run the ball. Play was whistled dead apparently before the snap.
I see. I don't understand this. You're up 14-7 in a place that's probably next to your own house, the most difficult place to win it in the NFL.
Delay by the offense. Still 2nd down.
Delay. And you've got 2 running backs against a defense that's given up an awful lot of yards running. I mean, remember what happened to Denver in the Super Bowl, and you put yourself in a 2nd and 10 situation by going for it all on the first play. Now they're 2nd and 15. There's the armband that Dave Craig has all the offense on of the Seattle Seahawks. That puts himself in a tough spot here.
His numbers aren't much, but his team is winning 14-7. Craig's 2 greatest days as a pro have come against Denver twice. He threw for over 400 yards against the Broncos at the Kingdome. Raymond Butler on the out pattern as Raymond starts to hang on. His previous catch, you'll remember, was for the go-ahead touchdown. Played at Southern California. And one of his strong suits is sure hands, although those 2 drops apparently inspired him. Not that. Coach Knox did at halftime.
Yeah, that sideline inspires you when you drop passes. You wish there were a penalty box you could go to as opposed to going to your sideline.
They're really holding down Largent with the double team. They got a guy right on his nose as we cut to the shot. You see at the top of your screen. He's the 2nd man down. Doubling him up. Here's Craig standing in. He fires to a wide open Paul Scanzi, but there's a marker down where Craig released the ball. Could be a hold.
Well, Denver's got to take the penalty. Holding against Seattle. You called it, Don.
28-yard play comes back.
So they finally get one down the field, and then there's holding.
Holding. Number 70 on the offense. Still 3rd down.
Ron Mattis, he's assigned to sometimes Rulon Jones, sometimes Carl Mecklenburg, both with great foot speed. You think these defensive linemen stop, even though the ball's thrown? That's Carl Mecklenburg down at David Craig's feet.
3 penalties aside, Seattle has been assessed 3 for 30 yards. Denver 3 for 37 yards. One of them was huge, the pass interference call that kept the drive alive and led to the first touchdown of the game by the Seahawks. 14-7 Seattle leads the favorite Broncos. Throw and a catch. Here's a rookie, Brian Blades from Miami of Florida on a 3rd down and 20 play, getting ahead for about 8.
Randy Robbins on the tackle, and that was a very, very poor 4 downs by the Seattle Seahawks. They score. They're up 14-7. They stop Denver. They get the ball back. That's a momentum-changing drive, and they begin with a pass down the middle that's incomplete. 2nd and 10. 2 penalties. They end up punting the ball away, and we didn't see Kurt Warner or John L. Williams carry the ball to grab control of this football game, Don. Very, very poor drive.
But a good bottom line for the Seahawks so far. They're up 14-7, 3rd quarter. Rodriguez unloads another long one. K.C. Clark or Kevin Clark returns it. There are markers down at the line of scrimmage. Rufus Porter doing a big job coming down to cover the kicks. Stops it after a 5-yard return by Clark. It was a 48-yard punt by Rodriguez.
Illegal man downfield. Denver has the option after a 48-yard punt. Make him kick it again. Make him run. I think they're going to, too, Don.
Downfield too soon, number 52, also number 97 of the offense. Be 5 yards, still 4th down.
John Elway, you just saw on the sideline, getting set to come back in. He and Warner were 2 of the top 3 picks in that famous draft of '83. Elway was first by the Colts, subsequently traded. Warner was the 3rd. The 2nd was Eric Dickerson.
Not a bad threesome.
And the 4th was the only quarterback from that draft not to make it. Todd Blackledge went to Kansas City as the 4th pick.
He's not playing in Pittsburgh. Traded from Kansas City to Pittsburgh, you're right. He has not measured up to the other quarterbacks taken in that draft. Of course, the last one was probably the best one of that draft.
Dan Marino, the 26th pick. 6th and last quarterback taken that year. 10:04 to play, 3rd quarter, and they'll punt it again. Rodriguez, a 215-pounder with the strong leg, hits it high, but not too deep. Clark comes over. It'll be tough to handle. He'll not handle it at all as it goes out of bounds. So Elway in the offense had been sputtering, and after that 44-yard punt, no return, Elway gets final consultation.
The 4-wheel drive Mitsubishi Montero, built for those adventurous few who heed the call of the wild.
Jane, I'm home!
At a civilized price, the Montero from Mitsubishi is suddenly the obvious choice.
If you're a business person and you're making a long-distance call, to call your customer, to call your supplier, before you hit that 11th digit, we've mapped out that entire call across the network, irrespective of where you're calling. You've got 21 different paths to get there. Okay, that's important from a reliability point of view. We've checked the quality of the circuit you're going to be on before you actually start speaking. We've done a service check. We're actually doing 75 million service checks per day, because that's how many calls we complete. I don't think most people realize that.
Excuse me, are you the Milton Pitts?
You found him.
Terrific. You're called Washington's official barber because you shave everyone from senators to cabinet members.
Just take a look at that wall, son.
Milton, what do you shave these powerful men with, huh?
A Bic shaver.
Bic? Not your barber's razor?
That's history. Bic is the best darn shaver I've ever used.
Okay, now who's that getting shaved with Bic?
Just look for the best shaved senator on the next debate.
The Bic shaver. If it's good enough for Milton, it's good enough for you.
It's a jungle out there. You can survive with the new 4-door Mitsubishi Montero. Its V6 power tames snarling beasts and takes you away to a more civilized world. The new 4-door Montero, suddenly the obvious choice.
Dan Reeves, one of the best in his 8th year as head coach of the Broncos. He was Dorsett's offensive coordinator. Dorsett's first 4 years in the NFL at Dallas. Dorsett has been, for the most part, quiet. He's set in the I position now, lying behind Elway as the deep back. Play fake to Dorsett. Elway gets a lot of time and runs out of it, and he is going to be
fumbled.
Free ball.
No sack.
They're going to call it a sack.
They're going to call it a sack.
10-yard line. Jacob Green is credited with it.
Second sack of the day. Again, great coverage by Seattle, and something you hear very, very seldom. The fans in Denver booing. I watched Jacob Green, 79. He's on Lanier, 76. You can see they always got nobody to throw it to. A big arm on the leg. Jeff Bryant finally throws him down, but the sack counts, which Denver is grateful for.
As Elway goes, so go the Broncos. He sputtered of late, but last year he erupted when they were behind by 10 for one of his biggest passing days. Now he's got to dance and get free if he can. Lets her go. A man is open, but it's too high for big Orson Mobley at the 45-yard line.
Boy, he had forever.
Some big performances. Neil Anderson, a running back out of Florida. The Gators turn out some standouts, don't they, in recent years?
Yes, they do.
John L. Williams from Florida. Eddie Brown from Miami of Florida. They only look good enough to play in the NFL, and they buried Florida State last night.
Yeah, that's Florida State was where Miami should be ranked.
Bills think they got a great bargain in Thurman Thomas, a runner out of Oklahoma State. who had a knee injury, and he was drafted in the second round, but the Bills said we saw him run with a bad knee for 175 yards against the Oklahoma Sooners. That sold us. 86 in his debut today. Big upset. Penalty markers down. And are they going to, well, we'll wait and see. Elway threw from his end zone. There's a holding call.
Wait a minute.
Inside the 5 is the holding call in the end zone as a safety.
That's right. That excellent call. Jim Jariga is the man who was holding Jacob Green, but I don't know if it was in the end zone or not. It was darn close to the end zone.
Holding number 66 on the offense. That penalty is declined. It'll be 4th down.
Not in the end zone. It was inside the 5, though, so they'll decline it and take it on a punt.
How about these last 9 passes by John Elway, including that one? 5 incompletions, 2 interceptions, a sack, and a penalty. It ain't working.
Mike Horan in to punt again. You see he has 3 today, the longest 48 yards. His counterpart, Ruben Rodriguez of the Seahawks, hit a team record 69-yarder today. Bobby Joe Edmonds, who led the American Conference in punt returns last season, is back. A high spiral. And Edmonds gets the ball back after he lost it on the way down. A Razorback from Arkansas. Big job by Horan, a 49-yarder and no return. Cleveland and Kansas City, just a couple of field goals. Garcia's hit another field goal for the Patriots as they've gone in front of the Jets by 10 in the 3rd quarter at Foxborough. Tim Brown's 97-yard kickoff return, the big play in that game as the Raiders lead San Diego. Houston and Indianapolis, 2 teams that did a lot of whooping before the game. There's been ill feeling there. Tied up 14-0 in Naptown in the 3rd quarter. Now Seattle goes to the run. Greg Craig in the nose tackle stops John L. Williams with 8:30 to play in the 3rd quarter. Trump.
Don, it's another chance now for Seattle to really totally take control of this football game. Denver's offense is not functioning very well. If the Seattle offense can get a long, sustained drive here, it's going to really hurt Denver's chances.
Craig against the blitz, swings it out, and he overthrows Kurt Warner, and very wisely, as the ever alert Jim Ryan was running in pass coverage and also looking at the ball.
Also good pressure by Greg Craig in the nose tackle, and Carl Mecklenburg on Dave Craig. This has not been a particularly well-called game, in my estimation, offensively for either team. A lot of mismatch of plays here. Watch the pressure once again on Craig. 31 Craig in there, 61 Townsend. This is a big 3rd down for Seattle, equally as big for Denver.
Seattle has been to the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years and 3 of the last 5 years. One of these 2 teams has won that division, the AFC West. Here is a throw to Butler, but a marker's down as Butler is going to have that big gainer come back. And apparently it's going to be a holding call as Rulon Jones and Mecklenburg were coming like freighters.
That's another big pickup. 27 yards, called back on holding.
Holding number 70 on the offense. Still 3rd down.
That's Mattis. He was on Carl Mecklenburg. There's Chuck Knox.
Coach Knox specializes in offensive line play. He was 10 years an assistant in the NFL with the Jets and with Detroit as an offensive line coach. Went to the Rams 5 years, went to the Bills 5 years, now beginning his 16th year as a head coach, his 6th at Seattle. Dave Craig is coming off an excellent preseason through no interceptions. His numbers aren't impressive today, but he's not made the big mistake. Elway has been intercepted twice. Throwing a catch. The Blades, the first-year, second-round draft choice. 3rd and 17. It's good for a gain of about 11, so they'll have to punt.
Mecklenburg and Mike Harden, again, a chance for Seattle to really put the hurt on Denver. Now Denver's got to feel good. They got to get it going here, but Denver's got to feel good. Seattle's given Denver a chance to make up for it, or at least get back in tune and get some offense cranking here.
Rodriguez hits another beauty. Left foot spiral that drives Clark back to his 11. He beats the first wave of pursuit, and Clark is struck hard at the 25-yard line.
You hear that hit? Whoa.
Tommy Agee from Auburn, a blocker for Bo Jackson, smashed him out of bounds.
In auto racing, the big Q stands for quality. In Quaker State's 11,000 RPM Porsche.
Week 2 of the 1988 NFL season on NBC Sports. Opening game of the doubleheader. The Steelers go to Washington to play the Super Bowl champions. Miami, beaten badly today at Chicago, goes to Buffalo, a team that upset the Vikings. Some of the doubleheader games, the Raiders go to Houston. Kansas City will be at Seattle. And Denver will be home again to play the San Diego Chargers. That's next Sunday on NBC Sports, leading off with NFL Live at 12:30 Eastern Time. 6:50 to play, third quarter. Mile High Stadium. John Elway looking to get hot. His team is down to the underdog Seahawks 14-7. Elway against Jacob Green, and he dumps it off. And that was some play by Elway, also an even better one by Green, who made him do it, but he did get it to an illegal receiver.
That's close to being intentional grounding.
He got it to Sewell.
It does not appear that you see the guard trying to pull out. It was Billy Bryan, the center, trying to pull out the block Jacob Green. Elway right there. Get this, last 8 plays. The Denver offense is running this half 9 yards gained. 8 plays, 9 yards. Now the receiver was right there, so it's no intentional grounding, but this offense is just ground to a halt.
The Broncos have won their division 3 of the last 4 years. 2 consecutive conference championships. Tip ball again, and Bosworth loses the handle. Had a room service interception, did the Bos, but couldn't hold it.
Well, we're now even. 9 plays running this half. 9 yards gained by Denver. Elway's now 13 of 29, 129 yards, 2 interceptions, and almost a third.
Bos took it hard. Wyman comforts him. Says Wyman, is he a player?
Yes.
He gets about 2 words of press outside of Seattle. He is big time. Out of Stanford, his second year. Free play. On the run, John Elway heading for the 12th man, and he bails out up the sideline.
Bosworth got an arm on him. Green jumped offside, so it was a free play. He tries to get back, does not. The big change I've seen so far in this Denver offense today is that John Elway does not want to run the ball.
Mr. Elway, Trump has hit 1
of his last 10. Remember last year.
Offsides, number 79 on the defense, still third down.
As I was about to say, last year when Dan Reeves not happy, but last year when these two teams met, Elway was 22 of 32, 4 touchdowns, an interception. Had one of his best days ever. And presently 1 for his last 10.
Elway's strongest suit is ability to sprint away from trouble and gun it on the run, but today he's having trouble finding the receiver. The Seahawks, without some key people, a troubled team, but not the way they play. They've really put it together today, and another glaring hit by Paul Moyer, who stepped in as the strong safety for the retired Kenny Easley, but the Seahawks are quick to point out when Moyer has started, they're 8-0 with him as a starter.
Yeah, that ball thrown into the ground by John Elway. Jackson had no chance to catch it. That was a ground ball out. John Elway goes to the sideline. Shoulders a little slumped. It's not working.
One of the most surprising aspects of this game, Trump, has to be Seattle's lack of a running game, even though they have a 7-point lead. And Denver's so vulnerable to the run, they keep persisting on trying to throw the ball.
Keith Bishop, the center on the punt team, just called timeout. He just raised right off the ball and called timeout. Did they charge him the timeout? The ball rolled away. It was all dusty and dirty once it cleaned off. Now, has he charged the timeout or not? Apparently not. He just cleaned the dust off the ball, and we go at it again.
Bobby Joe Edmonds is back. Takes it and starts upfield. He's quick. Dodging a bullet. 46-yard punt and a 19-yard return by Bobby Joe Edmonds as the Patriots now extend their lead on another field goal by Garcia over the Jets. Now in the fourth quarter. Question yet to be answered: who owns the Patriots? They have a buyer of the week up there.
That's a great line.
Yeah, they got a terrific team now. Doesn't bother them as long as those checks are good. Wade lets her rip. Largent slides back and makes the play. That is not the out-of-bounds line, that green line. That's the right field foul line for the Denver Zephyrs. That's a 15-yard throw and completion to Largent.
His second of the day. There's that right field foul line painted green.
754th of his career.
And counting.
Most all-time. He'll soon have the most yardage all-time. He's a bit behind Charlie Joyner. And he's 5 touchdown passes away, with 95 of surpassing the 99 that Don Hudson, the Packer Hall of Famer of yesteryear, had. He'll own all the records.
Oh my goodness.
Smashed hard, lording the ball.
Oh.
Mike Harden, the free safety, got him.
Boy, that hurts here. Don't leave him alone there. He's looking right back into the... Oh, he got hammered.
Other of his strong suits is his courage. Runs right into the teeth of the defense.
Well, he's moving his hands. He's going to have a headache, so that's a plus. When you look for players who get hit up around the head and the neck, when they start moving extremities, that's good news. And he doesn't think so. Oh, boy, that hurts. 11 years after you retire and 80 yards away, you can still remember what that feels like. Ugh. This is a little slant pass that Largent runs in. He's looking right back into the sun. The ball is thrown high. All elements of a shot like this. He does go after it. Whoa. We've had one go off on a stretcher, Clarence Kay.
Harden didn't go for the numbers either.
They never do. That's a free shot.
Last report on Clarence Kay, who was injured earlier, a tight end for the Denver Broncos, that he has a back sprain. Not a serious injury, fortunately, although at the time looked like it could have been. We have 5:58 left to play in the third quarter. The Seahawks are a 14-7 leader over the Broncos. And their one-day Hall of Famer Largent is down after taking that hard shot to the head by Harden.
He is what you call exposed here, stretched out. The thing that probably helps him is that he really doesn't have any weight on his legs. He bends funny, but you can absorb a lot more punishment in the air than you can on the ground. Wait till he sees that one on film. He's played for a lot of years, and you see those on film, and boy, does retirement look good to you.
Largent still being attended to. Now playing in his 13th year out of Tulsa, 7 times a Pro Bowl player. Today he extended his own record streak of consecutive games with a reception to 153. Tell you, there's a lot of guys that won't go over the middle.
He always has. I'll tell you, if you put him in the NFL's computer, they got height, weight, speed, he fails. But every intangible that every coach is looking for,
they say that about him, Trump, but the thing about the guy, his greatest asset, in addition to his intelligence and his work ethic, is he is a sensational athlete. He might not be, he's not slow, but he's an extraordinary athlete. His hand-eye coordination, the drills he does, he has about 30 or 40 separate patterns that he runs, and he works on every one of them every day.
Yeah, but you line him up next to Mark Clayton, Mark Duper, some of the other great receivers you find in the game, and just say run a 40, catch the ball. You're going to take the other two before you take him, and he's the NFL's all-time leading receiver. Up on his feet, appears to be fine. And I'll bet he's back in there.
And we'll excuse the Largents if they turn the set up or leave the room, and that comes up on the late news.
Yep.
That hit. He'll probably sit out a play. Pitch back to Kurt Warner. Nice block by Wilson, but somebody else fouled, and there's a penalty marker that comes in from the umpire, usually significant of holding. That's the call.
Mike Harden on the tackle. And the guy standing on the sideline, Steve Watson, he's taking his share of hits too. On the injured reserve for the Denver Broncos. And the sunglasses there, white shirt, there he is. Another holding call against Seattle. That's the third holding call of this half.
Number 32 on the offense, still second down.
John L. Williams leading Kurt Warner around there. Neither team willing to really take control of this football game, Don. This is Seattle's third chance now to really grab a hold of this game. 5:48 to go in the third quarter. Another second down and long yardage situation for Seattle.
Long yardage indeed. It's second down and 20, as you see, as Craig aligns in the shotgun, drops. Here's that quarterback draw again. Craig on the run. He's not done till he gets to midfield. A penalty marker's down yet again. Blair Bush led the blocking, but it looks like Mattis, a 310-pound offensive tackle, might be caught now. Mattis is clapping. He thinks it's going the other way. Personal foul is going to be the signal. If Red brings his other hand down, and he does. Early diagnosis, large and a slight concussion. He's questionable whether or not he'll return.
Red cashing talking to the line judge there. I'm not sure what for. Illegal use of the hands by the defense. That's probably a head slap, Don. There's Largent checking his teeth.
Talk about Hall of Famers. You're looking at the greatest receiver in NFL history.
Illegal use of the hands. Hands to the head. Number 75 on the defense. We'll tack on 5 yards, first down.
Rulon Jones, head slap. Or hand on the face mask. Inside, he's on the guard. Then he goes to the tackle. And you see, Mattis 70. Rulon Jones has got his hand right up to his face mask. Well, it's tacked on at the end of the play.
One of the longest third quarters of play. We still have 5:26 to play in it. Take the pitch back. Now Craig throws back. A screen is set up, and there are blockers in front. And John L. Williams will roll hard. Williams inside the 20 and down to the 14-yard line. Rick Dennison saved a touchdown. 31-yard play, perfectly executed. They all balked the pitch back fake. And then the pivot and the quick throw of the blockers were aligned in front of John L. Williams.
Half roll by Dave Craig and 3 offensive linemen. 70 Mattis, 59 Bush out there in front of John L. Williams. 75 Mike Wilson. 31-yard pickup.
Magnola with a big block also. Williams has caught 3 for 63 yards today. So the Seahawks get a very big play, and it's now on the Denver defense to stop this drive, or they could be in deep trouble if they're not already. Down by 7, the Seahawks have Denver down by 7 and are challenging again as Cragen makes the tackle at nose tackle. New England, with yet another field goal by Teddy Garcia, has extended its lead to a 22-3 count over the Jets. Raiders in San Diego. It's still a 14-6 game. Los Angeles, Houston, and Indianapolis still tied.
Well, Kurt Warner had off-season surgery on his ankle. He's not really running with the same steam that he did last year. I'm saying he's hurt, just not the same verve.
Second down and 9 for the Seahawks. End zone throw. It's not close. Third down and 9. They are in very good field goal range for Norm Johnson.
Intended for John L. Williams. Ryan, the linebacker, in coverage. For the most part, Seattle's gone to the running backs here, throwing the ball down the field. Ryan Blades, 89, brings the play in.
After Teddy Garcia kicked his third field goal, Craig James ran in for another win-win score to make it 22 for New England, 22-3. Going to the closed end of Mile High Stadium. Is it loud? Warner, throw, catch, touchdown, Seattle, and the underdog Seahawks have opened up a 20-7 lead. A 14-yard touchdown throw. Excellent throw by Craig.
That's A and B circle. I think they drew that up in the dirt about 50 years ago in the NFL. Now Kurt Warner is sitting to the right of Dave Craig. He gets good pass protection. He'll come in the picture. Ryan is the man in coverage. Mecklenburg 77 underneath. That one was put right on the money. And finally, Seattle, on its fourth chance to really do damage to Denver, gets the ball in the end zone.
So when John Elway and the Bronco offense get the ball back, they're going to have to start firing right off. Extra point is drilled through by Johnson, and with 3:41 to play in the third quarter, Kurt Warner's touchdown reception, you'll recall he scored the first on a run, is the Seahawks at 21-7 to lead.
Craig hasn't completed many, but when they've gotten close to the end zone, he's gotten it to the right guy. Butler catches one, and now Warner.
Most importantly, Trump, he's not turned the ball over, Craig. No interceptions. Elway's been picked off twice. So now the Broncos send their kick return unit out. Seattle reversing the developments of a year ago when they came here to Mile High Stadium on opening day, took a 17-7 lead, and then were destroyed as Elway went wild throwing the ball for 338 yards and 4 touchdowns, and Denver came back to win 40-17.
You have no idea what kind of a lift this gives to Seattle. Last time they won here was November of '84, I believe. This has been a spot where very few teams win, and Seattle certainly had their share of problems.
This has to be pleasing to their new owner, Ken Behring of Danville, California, who's here.
Not approved yet. Must be approved by NFL ownership.
Every indication is that it will be. Buying it from the Nordstrom families, who are about as much of a class act in ownership as anybody could be.
You got it.
Ken Bell runs back the kickoff and gets to about the 14-yard line. Elway now 13 for 30, Trump.
And he's one of his last 12.
Tigers are trying to hand it to somebody. With 10 losses in their last 12 games, or they could get hot again. They'll be at Yankee Stadium next Saturday on the NBC baseball game of the week. Cubs and the Cardinals, the other game, next Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern time.
Well, this team is known for late comebacks and dramatic drives. This is the time to start it, John.
Speed to the left side. That shotgun formation that Elway likes gives that speed in the receiving court time to run free of the defense. Here's a quick throw and a catch to the 25-yard line. Steve Sewell made the reception.
Sewell that time lined up as a wide receiver. The sets that this team has are so unbelievably varied. 21 Moyer, the strong safety out there in coverage. This is almost unstoppable, but Bosworth on the inside, 55, Moyer on the outside. They make him pay for that catch. It's a first down, Denver.
Absolutely optimum playing conditions. Temperature in the 70s. Cloudless skies here in the Mile High City, but trouble for the Broncos as they're down by 14 late in the third quarter. Winder gets the call and takes it out to the 29-yard line with a front three. Jacob Green, Joe Nash, and Alonzo Mitz got him. Seattle's defense really in sync when you hope Elway and the Broncos to 7 through almost 3 quarters of play.
No question.
It's a big day for a defense.
And here in Mile High Stadium, where what is their record here? 36-6.
Well, if you can break it down, they're 18 of their last 20, 29 of their last 34. And when they're ahead anyway after 3 quarters, it's over. They've won their last 30 games, but they're led after the third quarter. Loose ball, Bosworth and Orson Mobley hand fighting for it.
Again, that's thrown just behind Orson Mobley. Made it a very tough catch. We'll watch this play from Brian Bosworth, 55. He's looking at the tight end. Now watch where this ball comes. See, Mobley's got to turn around. John Elway has been off just that much. And when there's just that much in good coverage, who's that?
The Boz at age 18.
What happened 19 to 23 here? Oh, that's 4 tough years.
Hey, we got to get the Boz with his hat off. He's got the all-time haircut now. Here's Elway looking deep. Fires, and Sewell is the man, and Steve Sewell makes the reception down to the 43-yard line. Splitting the safeties, a 29-yard gain as all of a sudden Elway heats up.
Good pressure by Jacob Green, but this play will come right at you. John Elway's able to wait. You can see Sewell at the very bottom of the picture. And several times during every football game John Elway plays, that nuclear-powered right arm shows off, and that was one of them.
The route continues at New England, where Grogan has just hit Irving Fryer for yet another touchdown throw. Extra point again, no good. 28-3, Patriots over the Jets. Pitch back in a run, down to the 41-yard line. Bosworth made the stop on Gerald Wilhite.
Bosworth again now playing that strong side inside linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks. Wyman 92 outside. Bosworth does an excellent job there. He holds it to about a 2-yard gain. That's an excellent defensive play by Brian Bosworth. When you take away the blue sunglasses and the croc-sided hair and the outrageous statements, this kid can play football. He really can.
I would hope for $11 million. They had him pretty well checked out before they paid that over a 10-year contract. Elway again getting time. He loops one down. Let's see, it's Brule off the ground. A Caron catch. It's no good. Vance Johnson got the ball against in front of Melvin Jenkins.
You can see John's not happy with his performance today. That ball skips in there. Vance Johnson is the outside receiver.
He's also not happy, Trump, with Ken Lanier, who's trying to block Jacob Green.
Yeah, well, Jacob's been in there. That's pretty good coverage by Jenkins, but watch this ball skip. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
We haven't seen in the other normal starter, Jeff Bryant. Mitch has been very formidable at right defensive end. The Warrior, as he calls himself. But Green has been coming all day long from the left end, coming with a wide rush. This time he's being held, but he still is after Elway. Jacob Green trying to run him down, and Jacob Green gets him.
Wow.
That's why he's been to the Pro Bowl the last 2 years.
I think he got kicked right in the stomach, too. Jacob Green is down on the sideline. I think John Elway kicked him right in the stomach.
Accidentally. Not a good idea to kick Jacob.
Yeah, no, it wasn't on purpose. He just grabbed his foot. When he pulled him down, I think Jacob Green landed right on John Elway's foot.
Look at that. Look, Lanier holding him.
And he's still not stopping him. Elway does a great job to keep his feet.
Nash on the run also, and Jacob Green going sideline to run down John Elway.
That turned John Elway's ankle, it looked like there.
Tony Woods also came a hunting, a linebacker for Seattle. And that forces Horan to punt as he tries to angle it to the near sideline. It looks like a good one.
Oh, that's out on the 1.
About as good as it can get, down to the 2-yard line.
45-yard punt out of bounds on the 2. You can't get much better than that.
14 seconds to play in the third quarter. Seattle gets the ball. The Seahawks holding to a 14-point lead.
Mark Haynes is the guy down here in coverage. You'll see this ball right at the end. He's standing out of bounds. He should really be between, excuse me, that's Bruce Plummer. He should really be between the ball and the goal line to keep it from bouncing in there. They got a lucky bounce and it went out of bounds.
Power set. John L. Williams might be the guy just to try to get him out of jail. John L. Williams. And he gets ahead for about 5 yards out to the 7-yard line. And the clock runs, and that will do it for 3 quarters of play.
He does get him out of jail. Good call, Don.
That's going to be it as the gun will sound. And at the end of 3 quarters of play, the score is Seattle 21, Denver 7. Back after these messages from your local station.
Steve Gutenberg's really got it made.
What's happening to me?
Because he's just pulled the ultimate disappearing act. The man who wasn't there tonight.
Players. Taylor, who's down for 30 days for drug use. Dexter Manley, who's back for the Redskins opener after 30 days on the shelf for drug use.
And Gastineau, he got tattooed.
Gastineau's never been charged with any illegality, though.
That's surprising.
Denver defense looking to stunt, trying to get the ball back as we open the fourth quarter. Kurt Warner with a cutback move. Kurt Warner at his absolute finest. And now, while we have a moment between plays, we go to New York to NFL Live and Gail Gardner. Gail?
Thank you, Don. With the Tigers losing to the Brewers today, the Red Sox with a chance to move into a first-place tie. Top of the 10th in Anaheim, Larry Parrish is shot to right off Angel rookie Brian Harvey, putting the Sox ahead 6-5. Angels now batting in the bottom of the 10th. Let's go back to Denver.
Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy at Mile High Stadium, Denver, Colorado. 14-20 to play in the game. The underdog Seahawks with the ball and a surprising 14-point lead. They have it first and 10 now. This drive starting at their 2-yard line after the punt by Haran. Downfield throw, a little short of Butler. Mark Haynes defending on the play, and it brings up second down and 10.
That last run before this pass by Kurt Warner. Now that looked like Kurt Warner. He really fired it up in there. Craig mad at himself for not getting the ball. This is where you want Kurt Warner. 14-11 to go the fourth quarter. You're leading by 14. You hope you can give it to him 8, 10, 12 times in this quarter. Not very good numbers for him today, but he's got a quarter left.
Warner is now 55 yards on 13 carries. Williams with 54 yards on just 10 carries. So they're starting to grind it out. But here on second and 10, it's a timing pattern down the far sideline. The coverage is extremely good by Castile. Incomplete. It brings up third down and 10 for Seattle.
Great job by Castile. He stayed right on the arm of Ray Butler. You can see the difference in height here. Craig tries to put some air underneath the ball, but that contact is now allowed. The defensive back can use his arm not to hold up the receiver, but you can touch that receiver. That was great coverage by Castile. Watch that quarterback draw again, Don.
Third and 10. 14 minutes to play in the game.
There it is.
It is the quarterback draw indeed. Great call as he's now cut down short, though. Running room wasn't there. They kept somebody home, Randy Robbins, to check him. And Denver should get the ball back in good field position here as Clark comes back out to return.
Robbins was coming on the blitz to make the tackle. If he doesn't, Jim Ryan, the inside linebacker, is gone, and he can't make the tackle. It was a good attempt. Now, this kid has been a big factor in Seattle's success today. Look at that. He has been a huge part of Seattle's success.
Seattle holding Denver to 7 points despite the absence of 4 defensive standouts in last year's team. Kenny easily had to retire. Young walked out on the team for a third time yesterday. Bryant is here, but he hasn't played because he missed all the camp. and Taylor's been suspended. And yet the Seahawks having one of their great days defensively. Elway will try them again.
After flying.
John Elway, leader of the AFC team that by every measure has been the best in the conference over the last 5 years. When you consider conference championships, divisional championships, wins at home, wins on the road. The team that's been to the Super Bowl the last 2 years. Elway's quarterback more wins than any QB in the NFL over the last 4 seasons, 44. Right now they're in a deep hole, although time remains with the firepower of Elway. 13-15 to play in the game, and Seattle coming in as an underdog, holding, as you see, to a 21-7 lead. Vance Johnson, super fast wide to the left. Mark Jackson comes in motion from the right. Mark Jackson is out to the 45-yard line. The earlier scores today: 49ers hold on to win. Buffalo upset Minnesota. Pittsburgh held on to beat the Cowboys. Cincinnati over Phoenix. Rams no contest at Green Bay, routing the Packers. Same with Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. The Eagles winning in a walk, as did Detroit over Atlanta. More after this play. Dorsett breaks his biggest gainer for the Denver Broncos.
Brian Bosworth on the tackle. Dorsett with that great foot speed, still at age 33. 12 yards on the pickup. I'm watching. He fires up in there and takes that jab step outside, then acceleration. 57. Tony Woods is the last one to try to get him. Bosworth pushes him out. Is now 8 carries for 31 yards, but only 8 times today has he been involved in the offense. No pass receptions.
34 years old with almost 2,800 lifetime carries. It's remarkable he can walk, let alone run like that. He's never been hurt. He's going to throw it, or is he now? He's going to dart upfield. He can throw it. He gets down to the 41-yard line. Joe Nash, the nose tackle, made the stop for the Seattle Seahawks. Kansas City playing the high-powered Cleveland offense led by Kosar Tuff. Still just a pair of field goals as the game is tied. Grogan having a big day, so is the Patriot defense. The Raiders have extended their lead to 17-6 now over San Diego. Highlight of that game, Tim Brown's 97-yard kickoff return for a Raider touchdown. Well, Elway a bit out of the reach of Vance Johnson inside the 30-yard line of the Seahawks. That stops the clock with 11:44 to play in the game.
Oh, John, it's just trying to figure out what's going on here. Why am I off just this ever so little? The margin for error, or the window now allowed professional quarterbacks, is so small. I mean, it's just down to inches. You run deeper patterns and you run with quicker receivers. The margin for error is just inches. And John Elway has been off inches today, and therefore his very bad stats.
4 wide receivers in, but Elway certainly has to check the threatening presence of Jacob Green, who'll be coming from the left side. Here comes Green. Being held, no call. Up the middle the throw is, and a separation made at the 33-yard line. Vance Johnson couldn't hold on, as after the play, just after releasing it, Elway was knocked down.
Paul Moyer in excellent coverage up there with Vance Johnson. Watch once again when he goes up. Elway scrambles a little bit. Moyer right there with Vance Johnson. And if Moyer's not there, I think Johnson makes the catch.
So again, the Broncos are unable to sustain offense, and they'll have to punt the ball with 4th down and 8 coming up. See Moran having a good day. Here he bangs one, and Edmonds will let hop. Goes out of bounds again, inside the 20, inside the 10. It's going to be marked out of bounds at the 3-yard line. You remember his previous one was out at the 2. Back to Denver in a moment.
After flying so many.
John Elway good as there is, not having his best day. Far from it.
That's the league's most valuable player standing there on the sideline, completing 4 of his last 18 attempts.
Babe Laufenberg just threw for a touchdown to Jamie Holland, and San Diego's back to within 4 of the Raiders at 17-13 with 3:25 to play at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Again, the Seahawks are forced to try to just slam the ball at Denver to get some room to work. Kurt Warner got that call and was knocked down by Cragen and Fletcher. Game clock still with 11:14 to play. Long running game. Elway will get a lot more chances to work, and there's much work to be done by the Broncos as they're down 21-7.
Basically, what Seattle has to do here is make sure they hang on to the football. Don't give Denver any momentum with a turnover.
Ray gets it out, but John L. Williams would be better off not catching it. He lost yardage on the play. Very nicely done by Rick Dennison, number 55, who earlier, you remember, recovered a fumble when Warner was separated from the ball on that early drive.
You see Craig get the signals from the sideline on his left arm. He's giving signals back.
He doesn't want to see the official make that behind the back move. It's an illegal forward pass. Over the line and lost it down.
Well, they got Kurt Warner coming into the huddle late here. Seahawks going to have to call timeout. Nope.
Third down. John L. Williams carries, takes on tacklers. Those backs deserve every dime they get. They do pay a price. Andre Townsend and Rick Dennison shut down the Seahawks inside their 10-yard line. So again, Denver should get very good field position to start yet another drive, but still the Broncos with only 7 points today. They had the best offense in the American Conference last season. Rodriguez has been a standout for Seattle. Pressure's on him now. They're going to send a lot of speed from the right side. Hunting from his end zone. Kevin Clark is back for Denver. High punt, but not deep. Clark's going to let it hop. It takes a Seattle roll. And finally is down at the 48-yard line of the Broncos, a 44-yard punt. So Rodriguez delivers again. Now we'll see if Elway can. Week 2 of the NFL season next Sunday on NBC Sports. The Steelers and Redskins meet up at RFK in Washington. Miami at Buffalo. Then the doubleheader games. Broncos will be home again to play the San Diego Chargers, who are now within 4 of the Raiders at Los Angeles. That game is 17-13 late in the fourth quarter. Seahawks will be at home to play Kansas City, a team tied with Cleveland in the fourth quarter at Kansas City today. Elway play faking. He gets time. Tip ball. He had Wilhite running open short. And again, the ball is slapped down. Osworth might have got a piece of it from.
Yeah, I think that's the 7th deflection now that John Elway has had today. There's a flag against Seattle. Dan Reeves on the sideline. Look, he's looking for something that'll work.
Holding before the pass. Number 58 on the defense. First down.
58 is Bruce Schultz, the outside linebacker, presumably holding up the tight end. 7 deflected passes today. Ah, that's encouraging to see. He's all right.
Here's a final trump in from Foxborough. Patriots open with a 28-3 victory over the New York Jets. Elway drops and fires. He's got a man open. There is Elway at his best on an out pattern to Mark Jackson. And it's good for a first down to the 31-yard line, a 16-yard gain.
This is a tough throw. He's got to throw it over Bruce Schultz, who is about 6 feet 7 inches tall. You'll see Schultz come underneath the coverage. And Jenkins gives too big a cushion. Elway puts it right on the money. Another first down. As poorly as John Elway has played, Seattle knows he can still pull this game out.
Gonna do
and 10. Free ball. Elway picks it up, and then he gets kissed by Tony Woods. To those viewers who have just joined us to watch Family Ties, please stay tuned. Family Ties will be seen in its entirety immediately following football, except for Mountain and Pacific time zone stations, where the program will be seen in its regular time.
I was concerned about that.
Running long today, and it's going to go a lot longer as 9:24 still remains on the fourth quarter clock, and the hometown Broncos, who've been so strong here at Mile High Stadium in the recent years, winning 29 of their last 34 home games, find themselves down by 14 points, 21-7, to the Seattle Seahawks, who played inspired defense, shutting down Elway. Throw. He stretched his receiver, and Jackson couldn't hold on. That Sewell, he went to that time inside the 30-yard line.
Bosworth and Moyer on the coverage. Bosworth inside. I think it was Bernardine on the outside, wasn't it? Anyway, tip of the cap to the Seattle defense today. And Denver has played very uninspired football, except for that one drive in which they scored. Do you agree, Don? A lot of mistakes and not much running game. And
well, the Denver Broncos are the Elway Broncos. He is it. He's the cornerstone of the franchise. Everything keys off what he does. And Seattle's defense has been the difference. They've shut down Elway. They've taken away the roots of some of the receivers. They've slapped 7 balls down. Here's a long ball, and it's open. It's separated from him at the 6-yard line. And again, a big defensive play stops a big gainer by the Broncos. Melvin Jenkins, who had that interception in the third quarter that set up the touchdown. This time splatters Vance Johnson, who had the ball in his hands. It was a perfect throw by Elway. But the defenders again come up bigger.
2 deep zone by Seattle. Jenkins just standing back there to make the hit. Landed right on his shoulder. And John Elway, when he gets it, the ball to him, and it's knocked away. It is one of those days.
Tried to get to him early. First play of the game by Denver was a long bomb. First play from scrimmage for the Broncos. Now there is a punt that's going to again be down to tap it out. Let's see how it goes. This kick team is certainly keeping the heat on Seattle. And the defense has been stopping the Seahawks, but the offense can't move.
Well, let me tell you something. Simon Fletcher goes down and touches this ball. It's a 37-yard punt. But when he touches it, it looks like it's 86. His hand is on the ball and his foot is in the end zone. Now let's watch this punt once again. Watch Simon Fletcher, 73, bat this ball up in the air, and then Pat Kelly, the tight end, comes in from the right. He touches the ball. I can't tell if he's in the end zone or not. I don't think replay can either. So the play stands, ball dead on about the 2.5 or 3 yard line. But you can't go in the end zone or touch the goal line and come back without it being a touchback. So that was a close call, but there's Vance Johnson going off. He's got an arm or wrist injury, and the replay unit says it's inconclusive. I certainly agree, so there's no call.
So Elway has lost his best receiver. Seattle's finished the side of the game also. Elijah went out with a slight concussion, but he's all right. Has not been back since, however. Craig from his end zone, living dangerously, and he makes the connection to Raymond Butler for a first down out to the 18-yard line. 16-yard gain from the end zone.
Over Jeremiah Castillo. That time, too much cushion allowed by the defensive back. And you can see the enthusiasm and the confidence draining from the Denver Broncos team, and certainly Mile High Stadium. No one's left. Certainly not liking anything of what they see.
Still, though, a lot of time left. 8:40 to play. Broncos trail the Seahawks 21-7.
Yeah, but Don, I'll tell you, if Seattle does not turn the ball over, this game is done. Denver's got no chance to win this game unless Seattle lets them back in it with a big turnover. Interception, fumble. Seattle's got them right now. Denver's offense can't do anything. And there you see Dan Reeves. Get the ball. Get the ball. They need a turnover, and they need it big time. And they need it now.
Reeves was just looking up at the scoreboard clock. How much do we have left? 8:10 to play. With the super quarterbacks, that's a lot of points if they start hitting.
But here's where a 45-second clock. Here's where a 45-second clock favors the Seattle Seahawks team. It changed from last year's rules.
John L. Williams, 2 yards in a cloud of dust, just like Woody Hayes would have liked it.
Yeah. Now, as soon as they set that ball down, the 45-second clock, has already started. When you're winning a game and you're trying to hold on to that lead, that 45-second clock is a great friend to you. When you're losing, that's Joe Collier, the defensive coordinator. That 45-second clock is a killer.
Joe is like a soccer goalie, wears an outfit completely different than everyone else, so the QBs can, the defensive signal callers can spot him, see what he's waving in. Here's Scansy in motion. He's come in for Largent. Back to the run, and Warner on a 3rd down and short play gets ahead for a 1st down. So the Seahawks on 3rd and short get 4 new downs and can run the clock some more. It's down to 6:55 and running, and Seattle leads the game 21-7.
Just a straight dive ahead. John L. Williams leads. Kurt Warner gets the ball. Got his hand over the point of it, making sure he hangs onto it good and tight. I think all parties involved on the field, on the sideline, know that if Seattle doesn't turn it over, they can crank up the plane. Go home with a victory, Seattle.
A couple of people are walking around with a sign, "Give me some thunder," but none to be heard. Denver fans waiting for something to happen. Their defense looking to get the ball. Swing pass. Williams can't hold on. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Tony Zendejas has kicked a field goal in overtime, and the game at Indianapolis is over. Houston beats Indianapolis 17-14. Raiders continue to lead by 4 over the San Diego Chargers at the Coliseum. Second down and 10. From the 31. I-back gets the ball. That's Kurt Warner. He helps Denver by getting out of bounds, stopping the clock. Kurt Warner, a remarkable comeback story. In the opening game one season against Cleveland, he had a knee badly broken. Ligaments and cartilage. It was restructured through surgery, and he came back and has been as good as ever. An 1,000-yard rusher 3 of the last 4 years, and has had his best days in his career against these Denver Broncos, averaging 5.5 yards a carry. Go by Craig, and he cannot make the connection to Scansy as Dennis Smith breaks it up.
Delay of game. It's going to be against Seattle. Delay of game. So that's 3 plays in a row now that Seattle stopped the clock.
Delay by the offense. 3rd down.
A lot of walking around out there, isn't there? Seattle slow to the huddle. There's Rick Dennison on the sideline. He's got a shoulder or an arm or a hand problem. Each nerve in his shoulder. Yeah, he's trying to get that wing going.
Third down and 19 for Seattle. They go to the run. Warner starts upfield, and he is struck in hard by Andre Townsend and Mark Haynes. Haynes got him first and 61. Townsend finished him off with the high shot. Now with under 6 minutes to play and the clock running, the Seahawks send out their kicking unit.
Yeah, and Denver sends out his punt block unit. That's it. That's the call. No questions asked. Go after it. And remember, there's a new rule in the NFL. You can run into the kicker if it's not intentional, and they only get 5 yards. So on a 4th down and about 18 yards here, you can give a real shot at it, and they're not going to get an automatic first down.
From the top of the screen, far to the right, actually, Sam Grady, the gold medal sprinter from '84, starts his rush, now pulls back. High, long kick downfield, and Clark bobbles. He picks it up inside his 20 and gets some room to run. And Clark is across the 30 and out to the 33-yard line. We remind you that today's game is the property of the National Football League, of Denver and of Seattle, all rights reserved. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. Marcus Allen has just scored his second touchdown of the day. He opened the scoring for the Raiders with an 11-yard run. He just scored from a yard out with 21 seconds to play. So the Raiders have their opener 1988 safely in hand with a 24-13 lead over San Diego. Elway looks. He has time, and he makes the connection with the ball and still running is Steve Sewell. Free ball. Seattle might have it.
There's a fight over it.
We got players signaling for their team both ways, but the man who counts says Denver kept it. It's a first down Broncos.
You know, I think what happened, Brian Bosworth had it, and I think Steve Sewell and Karts took it away from him. Keith Karts and Steve Sewell took it back away from him. And watch it at the very end of this reception as Denver goes right back to the line of scrimmage. When this ball pops loose, I think Bosworth has it in his hands. Yeah, Sewell gets it away from him.
Too high, and Eugene Robinson puts a hard shot on the intended receiver Sewell.
There's Clarence Cage.
So Big Clarence is back and okay. He won't play again today. Removed on a stretcher in the first quarter, but no major injury. They've got him positioned in the clubhouse there so he can look out. What he sees, though, is not a happy development for any Bronco or their fans, as right now they're still down 21-7 with 4:56 to play. Second down arises. Second down and 10 for Elway. Wilhite on the run, and Gerald Wilhite is down to the 30-yard line. It's a first down for the Broncos. A 16-yard gain.
Right back to the line of scrimmage. Broncos have all 3 timeouts left. We should have gone to this earlier, huh?
Elway lots of time again. Another throw, another catch, and out of bounds with the ball is Ricky Nattiel. His first catch of the day, good for yet another Bronco first down.
Dwayne Harper was the man in coverage. And all of a sudden, John Elway getting it there at the right time. The 31 Vernon Dean drops the coverage. Seattle going with 3 deep zone coverage, so they'll give up the underneath catch. That Seattle defense is tired. Those split 3, 4-4. If you include Tony Lewis, played an awful lot today.
Denver trying to get it in. They've not scored since the second quarter when they got their only score of the day. Mitz wide on the run against Elway. Throwing for a touchdown. John Elway positioning himself perfectly just before crossing the line of scrimmage. Fires a liner 20 yards into the end zone, and Mark Jackson comes down with the ball for the touchdown, and the Broncos are back in the game with 4:14 to play.
This is the value of John Elway. He never gives up on a play. Mel Jenkins, 24, drops the coverage thinking that John Elway's going to run, and Jackson standing there by himself in the end zone.
Trump, he was out of the end zone and back in.
He sure was. You're absolutely correct. Replay will look at that. That's not going to count. Seattle should take a timeout. Dave Craig ran on the field. They're calling, Seattle's taking a timeout. Now you turn it over to replay.
Big Jacob Green is standing behind the center. He won't let him snap it.
Steve Largent ran down the sideline. Now watch again. Once you go out of the end zone, you can't come back in and catch the ball legally until somebody else. There he is. He's standing out of the end zone. He is an illegal receiver. Not only will it cost the Denver Broncos a touchdown, it's also a penalty. Well, that's the way this day is gone.
This spoken word of a receiver who's been guilty of that.
Yes, sir. I beg your pardon? We're on the replay again. The booth says it's not conclusive. We got a right foot standing out on the white part. Forget that foot. Look at that foot. Tell me he's not standing out of bounds? That's 2 feet out of bounds. Is his right foot standing out of bounds? That's the question.
Well, he's up on the soft toes of little cat's feet there. We don't know if the whole foot.
Well, that one will go forever then if that's. I don't know how in the world. Am I seeing things, or was his foot on the white part of the inline?
I thought it was on the white part and that he was out of bounds and came back in.
Well, see, there's paper all over the field, which I understand can at least give you a problem with it. Well, it's going to stand. Whoa.
Now Carlos. It's good. We'd like to welcome those viewers who have just joined us in the Cleveland-Kansas City game. This is Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. Chuck Knox and his Seahawks, an underdog coming in, build up a 21-7 lead. Now in the fourth quarter, on maybe a disputed play, it looked like the receiver was out of bounds and came back in. Elway hits Mark Jackson for a touchdown that gets the Broncos back in the game. They trail 21-14 with 4:14 to play.
It didn't look like he had 1 foot out of bounds through the inline. It looked like he had both feet out of bounds through the inline. But the touchdown stands. Elway on the scramble. Jenkins drops the coverage, and then Jackson is standing clearly in bounds. You can see the defensive back there, Eugene Robinson, saying, wait a minute. He was out of the end zone, came back in.
So it could be ready for a big ending in Denver, but we'll see now if Seattle can move the ball and run the clock. John Elway, if you've joined us late, had one of his off days. At one point, he hit only 4 of his previous 18 passes. He's been intercepted twice. 7 of his passes have been blocked by linemen. This kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Edmonds will let it go out of the end zone, and Seahawks will start from their 20, leading 21-14 with 4:09 to play.
I have a feeling that touchdown is going to stand in dispute for a long time. But Jackson makes the catch, and the touchdown stands, and Denver now back in this ball game.
Cleveland winning on a field goal late in the game. Matt Barr hit one with 25 seconds left to give the Browns an opening day victory. Raiders have made it official. They beat San Diego, and Houston upset the Colts at Indianapolis on an overtime field goal by Zendejas. The noise is thunderous as John L. Williams, the Seattle fullback, takes it straight at the Denver defense out to the 23-yard line.
Greg Cregan on the tackle.
When he had to do it, Trump, Elway delivered, hitting 4 of 5 for 47 yards, the last for 20 and a touchdown.
That's the thing about John Elway. No matter how miserable he's been all day, he's always a threat.
Second down and 7. Greg stands in. Here comes the rush. He loops it up. John L. Williams makes the catch on the run, and he has 4 new downs for Seattle as Williams, with a 20-yard gainer, gets it out to the 45-yard line.
Well, was that a draw it up in the dirt and make the play? You see Craig motioning Williams, go deep, go deep. Carl Mecklenburg was right. You see 77 watching. He goes out of the picture, but he follows John L. Williams. Craig says, go deep. He's right behind you. He does. Williams makes a great athletic play to make that catch.
Adjusting to the ball in the air, John L. Williams, the big fullback from Florida, has made play after play today. You see his receiving yards, and he's been banging out the running yards. Shaken up on that play after adjusting to the ball in the air. Tommy Agee is in. Pitch back to Warner. He gets a block, and Warner is out across midfield and down to the 48-yard line of the Broncos. You see the game clock down to 2:30 and running. 21-14 Seattle.
Agee down on that play, a good lead block, and Paul Scansey also helping out. He comes in motion. And you see Ron Mattis pull out. Agee does a great job there dumping Dennis Smith. And that allows the little spot for Kurt Warner to get up there. He stays in bounds. Second and short, 2:11. They'll not run a play before the 2-minute warning. Stay right there in the huddle.
That'll do it. They take it down to 2 minutes to play in the game. Perhaps we could be going to OT if Denver can get it back and get it in.
First offense here, and a big play by John L. Williams to get out of real trouble. Now they're in control of this game. Again, I repeat that if the Denver Broncos can't come up with a big turnover, I still don't think they have a chance to win this game.
I think you always have a chance when you got Elway, but you've got to get the ball, and now it's second down and about 2 coming up. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. The coordinating producer of NFL football, Ted Nathanson. The producer of today's game, George Finkel. The director, John Gonzalez. Associate director, Ray Benassi. Right now, we're coming down to the wire. 2 minutes to go. It has been an up-and-down game. Seattle had momentum early. Really, their defense controlled Elway much of the game. Then when Elway had to do it the last possession, he did it. Hitting 4 of 5 for 47 yards and a touchdown. Now we have second down and 2 coming up for Seattle as they go back to the run. Kurt Warner, he didn't get there. It'll be third and about 1.
Denver calls a timeout. Kurt Warner was able to hang on to the football, which at this point in the ball game is probably the most important point.
Everything else is just a lineup.
The report card on the Seahawks, Dave Craig with 14 of 30 for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns, but perhaps the most important stat's not up. He didn't throw an interception. Elway did, and they were huge, as it turns out. Elway, 21 of 45 for 259.
It doesn't really tell the story. He's also had 7 passes deflected today.
Yeah. And very nearly several more because of deflections intercepted.
Yes, there's Patrick Bolin on the sideline.
The owner of the Broncos.
Jacob Green today. 2 block passes, 2 sacks, 4 tackles. Those are unofficial, but...
Third and less than 2 yards, and over the top goes Kurt Warner, and it appears he has it. Warner gets down to the 45-yard line with 1:44 to play in the clock running.
This has been a battle of defenses. We figured with all the offensive firepower that Denver and Seattle have, there'll be a lot more points on the board. And we see here today just 35. What a win for Seattle.
They'll go back to the Kingdome for their home opener next Sunday when they'll play the Kansas City Chiefs. The team that took the Browns right down to the wire before Matt Barr on his second field goal today won it for Cleveland with just seconds remaining, 6-3. Broncos home again to play San Diego. The 24-13 loser to the Raiders today at Los Angeles.
Watch Denver go after this ball now.
Another thing, one of the few things John Williams doesn't do on a football field is a good one. He doesn't fumble.
Yeah. And you take the yards you can get and get on the ground so that nobody's holding you up so other people can hit you.
Tonight on NBC, Family Ties. And it's My Two Dads, followed by a 1-hour comedy special, A Whole Lot of Fun with John Viner. After that, Steve Guttenberg stars in the Sunday night movie The Man Who Wasn't There. That's all tonight only on NBC. Right after local news, our thanks to NBC statistician Dennis Mnuchin and to our spotters Mark Friedman and Merritt Cohn.
You know, historically under Dan Reeves, Denver Broncos have been a very good opening team. They've been 17 wins and 10 losses in the last 27 years. Seattle, on the other hand, a very poor opening team, 3-9, and their 3 wins have all come with Chuck Knox as their head coach. This is a major turnaround for both these franchises.
Seattle defense without starting cornerback Terry Taylor, without Pro Bowl linebacker Fred Young, without the retired Ken Easley, without Jeff Bryant on the field at all. He came, but he was a holdout the whole training camp.
He's played sparingly, just I think, just to give Alonzo Mitz, the Warrior, a little rest. Walt Boyer that time makes the tackle.
I believe that's the last time out, Trump, for the Denver Broncos. 1:05 to play in the game. 21-14 Seattle. As we look at the scoreboard once again on opening day.
Well, let's see what happens here with 1:05 left and that 45-second clock. The clock will start as soon as the ball is snapped. It's third down and short. You obviously do not want to throw the ball at all. If Seattle does not get a first down here, it looks like Denver may get the ball back for a Hail Mary pass. Brings up a tough choice for Chuck Knox. If they don't make the third down conversion, do you go with the punt? A lot of things could happen here in this next minute and 5 seconds, Don. A lot of people are leaving, but there can some strange things be going on here in a few minutes.
Daniel Williams has rushed for 79 yards. Denver has only 76 yards total rushing. Warner. Did he get there? If he did, it's going to be a measurement first down.
Oh, it's close. I don't think he did.
Now a linesman's coming in.
Fourth
He
down.
bounced ahead. Let's see.
Fourth down now. 49 seconds left. Let's see when they spot it. All right, the 45-second clock has already started. There's 28 seconds left on the
inches short
on the 45-second clock. I think Seattle will let the time expire, or are they going to go for it on fourth down here? I think what they're going to do is just kind of stand out there, give the coaches a chance to think. 7 seconds left on. No, they're going to run a play.
But they keep. Warner, that'll do it. Seattle's going to win it as Kurt Warner slides ahead for a first down, and Denver, powerless to stop the clock, will go down to defeat. A rare home defeat for the Broncos. This is only their 6th home loss in their last 35 home games. So Coach Reeves and his Broncos will go back to get ready for next week's game, as we'll be back with our most valuable player, John L. Williams of the Seahawks. Final score, Seattle 21, Denver 14.